Every e-commerce app lives or dies by its home screen, but most developers had code theirs, meaning every design change needs a redeploy. What if your home screen built itself dynamically from backend like Jumia or Amazon? Hi farms, welcome to another exciting React Native full stack tutorial. In this tutorial, we are building a Jumia Amazon style multi-vendor app from scratch using MongoDB Express, Expo and Node.js, all powered by TypeScript for rock solid code. So in this tutorial, we are going to be building something very robust like a Jumia app. So that's what we are going to be building, a dynamic app, a dynamic structured app. So you are not coding the layout. In this tutorial, we're not going to be coding the layout. We are going to build a system like a CMS that lets an admin configure the home screen without redeploying the app. So in real world e-commerce, like real e-commerce platforms like Jumia and Amazon, they don't redeploy their apps every time they run a sale. So they use a dynamic section system. So in this tutorial, I will be showing you how to build that exact admin-driven architecture that powers a professional marketplace. So in this tutorial, I'm quickly going to we have what I call the three pillars to our dynamic architecture and structure, which I'll quickly show you. If you look at this, so let me minimize this for now. So these are the three pillars. We have the first one is the Mongo schema for defining our sections. Then the number two is the Express controller that runs complex algorithmic queries. So and then number three is the React Native flat list that renders everything perfectly. So just stick around and watch out for the resolve section service. This is the art of the algorithm. So I'm going to be showing you everything, how everything is going to run. So without wasting time, let me just run you through the app. You're going to love this. So we have the app, the home screen. So the way I'm going to run this tutorial, I'm going to run it in series so that we can focus on what matters, and then we don't over chunk information, so that we can take it step by step. So we are going to be running a dynamic home field. That's where we're going to start from in the series. Watch out for the subsequent series, and then if you've not subscribed, you can subscribe so that you will get notified when I post the second series. So you can see this beautiful app in front of you. You're going to learn a lot of things from it. You can see the very first section, we have the search bar, the top bar there, and then the headers. So we have the search bar, and after that we have the banner slider, section. So inside the banner slider section, you can see this beautiful horizontal banner slider, and it's automated. And you can see when it's in focus, the one that is focused is bigger than the other ones. And then we have the previous showing. We are showing a little bit of the previous and the next. So after that, you see this beautiful first category section. So I called it the deals category section, and then where we have all the deals. So you can see it's horizontally scrollable. So we have a AWOF deals. We have up to 80% off, and you can see this is beautiful, exactly the way they have it on Jumia. And then you can see it's horizontally scrollable. After that, we have the flash sales section, and this is also beautiful. Just look at the UI, the way it's rendering. Look at the product card here, it's exceptional, exactly the way they have it on Jumia app. You can see it's also horizontally scrollable. So that's where we display the flash sales campaign. That's where it's run. And after that, we have another dynamic section, and this section is running the main categories, the main home category. So this is the home. This is home screen feed. This is the home feed, and then here we have the main category, the main home category. We have the phone and tablet. We have TV and audio. We have beauty must have appliances, and this is a grid. And this is also the exact way they have it on Jumia app. And these things are rendering dynamic. Just stay put. I'm going to show you how everything is working. All these are powered by our back end. The back end defines what to render. The front end only listen to what the backend, the instruction coming from the back end. So anytime you are making any change, anytime you are updating your feed, you don't need to redeploy your front end. The front end is there. You just once you have deploy it once and for all. So every time you make change to your app or your feed, you don't need to redeploy or rerun your front end. No, everything is just there. The front end only listen to the back end. The back end determines everything that you are seeing in the front end now. It's exceptional, and you're going to love this. So moving forward, we have the main category is a grid. Though you can see the first one was not a grid, it's horizontally scrollable. That's the layout for the first category section. The second category section, and you can see the way we are rendering it. It's a grid, so it's a grid. And then we have another product section. This is a product section, and this section is for top seller sections, and it's also what horizontally scrollable. This is beautiful. It's horizontally scrollable, everything coming from the back end. After that, we have the sponsored product, and you can see the way everything is working. You can see for the top sales section, it has a different header and header color. The title color is different. We are using the Jumia like color, which is yellow and a yellow orange. And then when you come to the sponsored product, you can see the header, the title is different, and these things are dynamic. I'm just going to be showing you everything is coming from the back end. So, and you can see the products are also rendering what dynamically. And then after that, after the sponsored is also horizontally scrollable. This is beautiful. After that, after the sponsored product, we have what another section, another product section, another product campaign section. On this section, we have limited stock deals, and this is beautiful. Look at it, it's using the same color with these. But notice another thing that happened. Top seller section does not have see all, but this has what? See all. This is powerful. Come on, if you have not subscribed right now, you need to start doing that. Subscribe, like this, comment and share. I really appreciate it, because we are diving deep into something deeper in the way real app works, real e-commerce app works. We are diving into it straight away. So you can see we have the limited stock deals with the see all, and this doesn't have see all. This is dynamic. And then you can see here it was horizontally scrollable, but when we got here, it changed. This is grid. This is not horizontal. This is grid. And look at the UI. This is beautiful. Look at the way it's rendered. It's beautiful. After that, we have phone deals. It is horizontally scrollable, similar to what the top seller section, but the difference here also, you can see this one has what see all, whereas the top seller section doesn't have what see all. So, and that's the thing. This is the home feed, and you can keep adding new ones. The more you add it from the back end. You don't need to touch the front end. Everything is coming from the back end and is rendered dynamically. So that's what we're going to quickly achieve in this tutorial. So like earlier said, this is the three pillars of our architecture. So that's what we are going to go through now. So we go and get started with the tutorial without wasting time, and I'll show you everything, how this thing connects to each other and give us this dynamic UI. Right before we get started, please, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe, share this, comment. I always respond to your comments. Let me know what you feel about this exciting tutorial, and most importantly, also like and subscribe. I'll really appreciate it. A quick disclaimer: this tutorial is for learning purpose. This is in no way trying to expose anybody's brand, or it's just a tutorial for learning purpose. Thank you very much. So every information, all the codes that are here were strictly developed and then worked on by me from the scratch. Thank you very much. So we go get started with the tutorial. So we are going to get started with the folder structure and then the starter template. So I'll just come here, and then inside our terminal, I'm going to post this, so you can it will be available in the starter template. So check the description box below to get the starter template. So all these things will be there. You can just copy them. And so we're going to be using MPX Create Expo app, Jumia e-commerce, and then we're using TypeScript. So we'll just run it. So our starter template has been created. So I'm just going to use CD. We call the name Jumia e-commerce. So we're there. So what we'll do is we open it in another VS Code window. So we're using code dot. So here, before I continue, I just also want to quickly create the folder for the back end, so we can run everything in succession. So what I'll just do is come here. Inside here, I'm going to run the same. I'm going to run the same code, and this time we're going to call it server. So it will be created inside here. So we're going to call it server. So server is MPX Create Expo app server. So it's going to create it inside our Jumia e-commerce. So we're going to go. We'll just allow that to create, so we can run everything side by side. So the server has been created as well, so we can also navigate to the server and then run it on, open it a separate window for it. So we'll go to server and then we're seeing code dots. Let's open it on a separate window. Cool. So we're good to go. So let's begin with the build up and then the starter template, so we can move faster that way. So as my usual convention, I already have it in my on my desktop. So this is starter template. You get in the description box, so you don't have to worry about anything. So I'm just going to carry the source and then all other data for the backend, the server, and dump it in so we can move faster. So what I'll do here is come back to our code. Let's get started with the front end. So from the front end here, I'm going to copy the source folder. So come here, we'll copy the source folder and dump it inside. So we say copy folder. So the folder has been copied, so we have all the front end in here. So for the back end, we're going to do the same. Copy the folders that we'll need there, and then the file. So we'll need, it's not everything, so we'll need the assets. So I've created all these. You have access to the assets, all the picture, all the images we're going to be using. So we're using thumbnails, so I'll show you how to create thumbnails also as well. That's why you can see some of the pictures are two, so one is for thumbnail and one is for the image. So I will show you how to create that in the tutorial, so as we progress. So these are the images we are going to be using for now, and then this is the slider. So everything, you have access to it in the description box, so we can move ahead. So we'll need the config, we need the controller, we'll need helpers, middleware, model routes, script. Okay, we not need this. If we need it, we'll come back to it. We need our TypeScript, we need our utils, and then we need our index. So we'll copy everything. So we'll copy these ones for now and bring it to our server. So everything has been imported inside the server folder. So we'll continue for our, so we need to change the package.json. We need to update the package.json for both the front and the back. So what we're just going to simply do, and then the index, I'm just going to bring this here. So the index, so we'll come to our index here and change it to this index. So we'll be needing this, so we can copy all the index we have here, we can copy it and then use it here. So this is how we're going to start our server. So it's not showing an error now because we've added all these inside our server here. So we can save this and then close this index. So the only thing that is left is the Express. So the package.json is going to address that. So we're going to bring our package.json here and then bring up the package.json in our starter template. Just follow along the way I'm doing. So we'll bring this one up as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all we need here and replace there. I don't want to change the entire file, it may cause error, so you don't do that. So you can just change everything inline. So I'm just going to carry this, copy all this and bring it here, exchange it with this. So this way there won't be any issue. Save this, and then also we need to copy the dependencies. That's why you can see this is still showing error, because Express is not recognized. So we need to import all the dependencies here. So we bring everything here. This is our template, so I'm going to copy. We already have Expo. We want to maintain the current Expo. The current one is 54.0.23. So we want to maintain the current one, and then so we maintain all the dependencies from Expo. So we can come back here, and then after the Expo, so we copy from Express downward as well. So we leave React Native out. So and just use the same approach for the front end. I will not go through the front end like this, so you just do it the same way. So we'll come here after Expo. We can have all this here, and then we'll leave our React Native, the current React Native. So we can copy from this, and then our TS node. So these are the dependencies we'll be using in this tutorial. If we need any other ones, we'll add them later. So we save it on Windows here, and then after saving it, ensure that it's saved. After copying all the dependencies, make sure you save this file first. So you save it. After saving, then you now come and do npm install. Then we could add at latest. Let's see if it works, so that it will install the latest version for everything. So let's see how that goes. So you see everything has been installed. Everything has been installed successfully. So, and you can see the error is gone. The error is no longer here. The error is gone, and then we're good to go. That means everything was installed correctly. Everything has been installed, so we're good to go. We're good. So we'll do the same thing. We apply the same method to the front end. So I think we're good to go. These are the dependencies we'll need here. So if we need any other one, we'll come back and install them later. But for now, this is all we'll need for the front end. All this has been added to the starter template, so we don't need to waste time on it. So we'll save it as usual. Then we'll come here. Remember, we're inside the backend directory, so we need to go back, or we can simply go here and create a new terminal. So inside the new terminal, we're in the front end directory here. So what we'll just do is npm install. It will install all the dependencies. So all the dependencies have been installed, so we can continue now. If we come to our let's say our navigation, for example, if everything has been installed correctly, you see we don't have any error here. So all these dependencies are working. That's why we don't have error there. The next thing we just need to do is to get our app started, so that we can start the work properly. So to do that, we're just going to come back to here and say npx expo start. So if you see from the terminal, it's telling me that 8081 is being used, that you use 8082. So I'm just doing this to show you how to create and then launch your starter template. So I've already done everything in my 8081. I'm just showing you how to create your own starter template and get started with the project. So I'm going to use 8082. Please be mindful of the port you are using. So it's very important, because we'll be needing it throughout the project. So I'm going back to 8081 because I've already, all these things I'm just showing you, I've already done it. So I'm going back to 8081, but just for the tutorial sake, so that especially for beginners, so that you know how to kickstart and use your starter template. So I'm going to ask you to use 8082, but that's not the template I'm going to be using. I already created the template that's on 8081. So cool, our project has been created successfully. So for me, I'll be using my iPhone with Windows computer. So I'll prefer to use, I'm using my Expo Go app. That's what I'm using. So but you can use your preferred options. If you're using Android and then Windows, you can choose press A and open Android or other means, but this is the means I'm using. I'm also using Reflector 4. If you've been following me, you know I use Reflector 4. So it's just one of the options. There are many options, so use what works for you best. This is where I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to go back to my 8081. So that's what I'll be using for this tutorial. Also, before I leave, I also need to show you and confirm that the backend is also working. So if you come to the backend now, you can just say npm start here. That's all you need to do here, and it will launch npm. You can see NodeMon is already working. Oh yeah, so see, it's, thank God I had to run this, if not I would have forgotten. So there's one more thing we ought to do for the other backend. So we need to update our TS config. So we're not going to use this. That's where the error is coming from. So I'll go back to our starter template and then use the TS config there. We're just going to copy it. Don't change the file. So we're just going to copy the TS config here. No, it's not this TS config. We're using the backend TS config. So we go to server. Yes, server TS config. Good. This is the TS config we would use. So all you just need to do is copy all these. Do not change the file. If not, it will lead to an error. Just copy and replace. So replace this, save it, and then everything will be fine. So if we save everything now, you'll see it should work out. Cool, you can see beautiful, everything is working fine. So this is the folder, this is the folder I'll be using. This is the app structure I've built, so we'll not waste time. So I called it Jumia app. So I just explained the starter template so that you can also get to this point. So my app is being built up. Then I'm just going to use my reflector 4 to connect. So good, I have my app running. So the next thing we need to do is go to the back end and also start the server there. So that's why nothing is showing up, but you can see the starter template, everything is working fine. So this is the starter template, so you should be at this point. So I'll go to my backend server and get started and start that too. So you can see it's not started yet. So I need to come here and say npm start. So NodeMon is going to take it over, and then we can move forward from there. So successfully started. So what I just need to do is, come back to our front end. So the front end, I will go to our source. From our source, I'll go to the home screen. So from our source, we'll go to the screens, and then go to home screen. So without wasting time, let me just restart the app so everything can come in. So I'm using Expo Go. So I'll just go to my Expo Go app here, and I send my Expo Go app. You'll see that my Jumia app is already there. So we'll reload it, and then should have everything there now. Cool, beautiful, everything is working fine. So you can focus on what's more important, and then that's the explanation and showing you how everything works. So everything you're seeing here, I'm going to be explaining them section by section. So the first thing, we have to go to the back end, because that's where everything is. That's what defines this whole architecture. Everything you see now is defined by the back end. So it's very important that we go back to the back end. We'll come to the back end here, so we can minimize this. So I'll come to the model. So let's get our home section. We're going to start with that. So come to my model here, insert my model from my back end, and then we'll go to home section schema. So that's where we're going to get started from. So inside the home section schema, we have the section type. So the section type is type of the sections that we are going to be using, that we're using in our home feed. This is our home screen feed. I'm just increase this a little so that I'll show you everything on the go. So this is for the home feed, and this is the section thereof. So the section type, so each of this home feed belongs to a section type. So the banner belongs to the banner section we have here, belongs to the section type banner slider. So the second one is a deal category here, which belongs to the type of deal category. And then if we scroll up, we have the flash sales. The flash sales belongs to the product section. So flash sales is just another way of displaying a product campaign. So it belongs to the product section. So after that, we have another category section, which is the home category. So it belongs to this section type, home category. Then we have all the remaining ones that we have here are different product campaigns. So they're all product sections. So they belong to product section. So that's the thing. So that's the one we're using. So that's what we're using here. So from there, we have the layout. So the layout is what determines how these home feeds, how these sections appear, how they display. Is that horizontal or grid? So that's what we've done. If you check for flash sales, it is horizontal display. It's horizontally scrollable. So the layout there is horizontal. And then for our home category, it is what it's grid, so it's not horizontally scrollable. For our deal category, it is what horizontal layout. So that's what we're doing there. So that's what we're doing there. Then from there, so we have the title for each section. Each section has its title, then the section type, so the type of that section. So we're passing this section type that we wrote here. So this section type will pass it to what the type. So it defines the type of the section. So we have the order. So the order property is what defines how we render the home feed, how these sections are rendered. So the order property defines which section comes first. So that's how we're able to have the sections. That's how we layer them. So we have the banner slider. So if we have the banner slider coming first, we have the deal category coming second, and so on. So we have the see all. So you can see the see all here. So that's why if you check the see all here, you can see that some section doesn't have what see all, like top seller section, it does not have see all. Whereas if you go to limited stock deals, it has what see all. So this is where the whole magic is happening. So, and then we have the layout type that we mentioned, grid or horizontal. Then we also have the background color. That's what determines the background color for each of these section headers. So you can see limited stock deals has what, an orange, a Jumia like background color. But if you check the sponsored product, the sponsored product has another what color. It has a background color of white. That's how we're able to dynamically render them. So you can see that it's the back end that defines what the front end will show. So the next thing, then we have the rule. So we're going to explain everything in depth. So this is the interface that we used for our home section schema. So the home section schema, the home section model, is what defines or represents the layout of the home feed. So that's just the simple thing about it. So these are the things. So we have the title, we have the type, and the type is going to be type of enum. We're using enum. So after that, we have the reference ID, we have the order. So the order property that determines how they appear, which one comes first on the list. So it's the order that helps us achieve that. Then it's active. We only want to return, or we only want to display the section that are active. So those ones that are not active will not be displayed, will not show. So that's why we're using it. So we have the see all, the layout type, header, background, color. Then we have the rule. We'll come back to the rule shortly. So after this, the next one we want to do is we quickly go to the controller, and let's get the home section controller. So this is the home section controller. So here we can create the home section. This is where we're going to create this section, all the sections on the home feed that you're seeing right now. So all these things has been created. I'm just going to show you how it's done. So so you can see this is the function to create the home section, and then we are getting the section from our model, so from our home section schema. So this is it, home section. That's what we are calling here. So we're calling there, and then we are sending the values to all these properties defined here, all the properties defined here, all the keys that you see here. So we're going to provide this where we provide the value. So we'll provide the value. We're using Postman to provide the value. So if I quickly show you from my MongoDB database now, so also you have all these configuration settings to connect our backend to MongoDB has also been added to the starter template. So you can just check it. So you see everything there. So we don't have to waste time on that. So you can just copy and paste, and then it will work. So this is if we come here, this is our home section collection. This is the home section collection. So we have the home category. So we have the type is what is home category. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So we have the deal category. That's the first one. So what we did is you come to our Postman. Inside our Postman, you can see we have home section here. So I used URL encoded form. So from your body, you come there and you can see everything is here. So this is where we declare it. So this is the key and this is the value. So we're using Techno official. So here now it could be home. What do we call it? Deal category. So that will be the title. Then the type, we provide the type. So you can see we have product here. So if it's deal category, it's going to be type of it's going to be the type of deal category. So that's the same way we have it inside here. So if you come here, you see that we have the title deal category, we have the type, so it's a deal category type, and that's the section it belongs to. So we have the order number is what 2, and that's why it's showing as a second on the list here. So this is the deal category, the horizontally scrollable. So we said layout type is what horizontal, hence we can see it's horizontally scrollable. And then we have the background color is white. So no rule is applied here, because so you get to see the reason why we didn't apply the rule to it. So the next one is we have the flash sales section. So that's the next one after the deal category. And then it's noteworthy for me to also mention that the first one on the list now is what the banner slider. So let's look for where we did the banner slider. Okay, you can see the banner slider was actually the last document inside the home section collection, and you can see, and it's rendering first. Why? Because it's rendering via or using what the order number. So it's in ascending order. So number 1 is the first. So that's why it's rendering as the first on the screen here, and you can see it's a type of banner slider. And then see all is false, is active true, layout type is horizontal, background is white. And then if you let's come to our sponsored. Let's look at our sponsored. Okay, let's come to top seller section. Inside our top seller section, you see we have product type. The type is product, and then it's active true, layout type is horizontal, and you can see the background color. That's why we have So that's why we have the orange Jumia like color. So that's the thing. So the background color, this is the color that is being used there. So the front end will consume that and render it according to the background color, and then we have the role there. We'll come to all that very shortly. So if we look, let's look into one more another document. So we have the home category section. So this is the home category section. That's a grid, and then you can see the layout type is what grid, header color is what white, and then no rule is applicable, so it's number 4 on the list. The order is 4, so it will be the 4th on the list, and then the type is home category type. If we go, let's go a little up. So here we have flash sales. So if you come, so you see we have flash sales here, and it's a type of flash sales, and we have order is 3, is active true, layout type is horizontal, background color is what white. So we'll come to the rule. I'll explain the rule so that we don't jump anything. So we'll go back to our controller. So after that, so this is how we created all the documents inside our home section collection. This is the collection, and these are the documents. So this is what we used. So we use Postman, and then we use our controller here to post those documents inside that collection. So the next thing that we're going to do is, now that we've posted it, okay, so just for me to show you for reference purpose. So after that, we have our index. So we have our index. That's this index is inside what our controller. So it's inside our controller. You can see it right here. It's visible. So our controller, our create, where is it? So we are going to pass our home section. This is it. Our home section controller, the entire home section controller. So we are exporting everything inside this home section controller. Everything, both the create. We are done with the create. So let me minimize it. So we have the get home section. So everything inside the home section controller will be exported here. So will be exported here. So that's why we're saying export everything from what? Export all from what? Home section. So we can go to our, after that we can go to our root. So those are the roots. So inside the root we'll have the home section. And if we bring that up, so you can see we have create home section. So we import everything. So that's the idea. The beauty is when you do that, so we can import everything. So we can import everything from the controller this way instead of importing it line by line. No, we can just, that's the essence of using this index. So we can import everything, and everything is horizontal in one line, in one row. And you can see we are bringing it to what our root, and then we are creating, we already create home section, and it's a post request. So it's a post request, and then after that we export everything, all our root, we export it as what? Home section root, and then we do the same thing. We add another index here. So inside our root, so this is the index inside our root, and we export everything from home section root. So we export everything from home section root here. So we're exporting all this, 1, 2, all of this. So we're exporting it inside our index. So when we go to our Express, so the setup for this Express has been added into the starter template, so you can just get it there. So inside our service, so inside our services, we have the Express app. So we import everything from what? We'll import everything from our home root, home section root, so you can see. So we're importing everything here, and then so we can add, when we come to our home section, you can see, so this is our home section, and then we are using what? We're adding what? The home section root. So hence when we created the home section from our Postman, this name must be the same with this, with our root. So that's why we are 8082, and then it's using what? Home section. So this helps MongoDB and then Postman to know that, okay, the data, the document we are posting, we are sending is for what? Is for home section. So that's the idea. So it's for home section model. So it will save it in home section collection. So that's the idea here. So we're good to go. So we'll come back to our home section controller. So inside our home section controller, we will do the get sections. So we want to get the sections. I'm just going to close this for now. So collapse it. So to get the section, we're using a function, a constant called get home sections. So inside the get home sections, so what we're doing here is I declare another constant here, constant sections. So we want to get all the sections that were posted and saved inside what? The home section collection here. So that's what we want to fetch. So we're saying, and we're using async. So we're saying await home section dot what? Find. So it will go to the home section collection and find all the document there whose active is equal to true. So all the document that has active equal to true, it will fetch it, and we're telling it to sort it in order. So sort it by order, and it's in ascending order. This one means it's in ascending order. So if it is -1, it will be descending order. So if it's -1, it will be descending order. But we're using 1. If you're saying 1, that means it's what? It's in ascending order. So it should sort it by order in ascending order. So hence we see, so that's the reason why we have what the banner slider first on the list, because of that order criteria, that sort criteria. So and like I showed you earlier on, if you come to our home, our banner slider, our home section collection, you see that the banner slider order there is what? Is 1. So that's why we have the banner slider as the first that is rendering on the home feed. So the second one is what? The second one is the deal category. So if we come to the deal category, the deal category is at the top here. You can see that's order number 2. That's why it's the second on the list, and then flash sales is 3. That's why it's third on the list, and so on. So this is where we set the condition. After this section, we came here and then we declare another constant, and we're using promise.all here. And then inside that, we now want to map through the sections, all the section that was returned here. We now want to map through it. So when we map through it, when we map through it, we're mapping through the section. So we're saying section.map, and then for each section. So what we're doing here, for each section, we're converting it to an object, to JavaScript object. We now call it what? Section object. So for each of the section will be converted to what? A JavaScript object using the toObject method. So the next thing we want to do is we want to get the product-based sections. So what we're doing, we're using this if condition, and then what we're checking is we are checking if the section.type is equal to any of the following, is equal to one of the following: flash sale, product, brand store, and section.rule property is present. So if it has section.rule property and the type is equal to any of the following, so if both conditions are true, it will call the resolve section function. So it will call it, and this resolve section function has what? An argument called an argument of what? Rule. So we'll come back to this resolve section later, so that will explain everything in depth. So what we are saying, that if section.type is equal to flash sale, or section.type is equal to product, or section.type is equal to brand store, and it has what? Section.rule. If it has rule, that means they are product-based section. So what we are doing, we will call, only then we will call what? The resolve section function. So I'll come back to that, like I said. So after that, we'll come here with the return. We'll return here. This return will now, using the spread operator, we will return a new object that includes the original section object. Yeah, it will include the original section object properties, and then we'll also add the product property. We'll add the product property, and the product property will be an array of product from the result we got here. Or if there's no product found that meets the condition here, it will return what? An empty array. That's what we are saying. And then we'll also add what? The layout type property to this new section, and then this new section object. So we'll add our layout type property to it, and then we'll pass the section.layout type. So it will pass the layout type for each product section. So I'm just going to show you a demo quickly of what we're talking about, so it will make sense. So I'm just quickly open another window. So if we come here, this is what it's going to look like, the result. So this is what the result will look like. So you see for the flash sales, it will return a new section object containing the original section object. So that's why we have what? The title, the flash, that's the original one that we fetched. That's the original object that we fetched from what? From here. So this is the section object. So for each of the sections, so the original object will consist of our schema layout. So it will consist of the title, the type, reference, order, is active, see all, layout, header, color, and row. So that's the original object. So we'll use the spread using the spread operator. It will return that original section object. So which are these, for example. And then since it's a product based, it will now add what? It will now add what? A new property. It will add a new property called what? Product. Just the same way we instructed it here. So you can see it will add what? A new property called what? Product. And that product, it will now use what? The resolve section function. It will call the resolve section function and pull. It will fetch all the product that are associated to what? The flash sales section. So we'll get to that very shortly. So you can see, so this product will now be an array of objects. So this product will be what? An array of objects. So you can see we have the first product, second product, and like that we have the third product, and then the second product based section. Let's say for example we're having featured product. So okay, like in our case here, if we come here, another product based section that we have here is after flash sales, we have top deals, top seller. So it's a type of what product. So if we come to top seller, so we could say this is like, let's say, top seller. So top seller section. So we get the product that are associated to top seller section. So it's a type of product. So the order, I think the order here is what is 4. So is active, is true, see all. So see all in our case here is false. So we could say the see all will be what? False. So see all is false, and then layout type is horizontal. So we use horizontal because this is actually a demo. So that's horizontal. Then it will now consist of what? The list of products that meet the criteria of what top seller. What do we mean by what top seller? So we'll get into that shortly, and the list goes on like that. So for the brand store, it will return the original section object, and then add what? The product property, and pull all the product that met the condition for the brand store, and so on. So without wasting time, so we'll come back to this properly shortly. So the next one that we want to do is we want to check for the category based sections. So for the category based sections, we're going to come is similar. So we'll come and check for the section type that matches what? The deal category. So that's what we're checking here. So if it's equal to it, if it's true, what we are just going to do is we are going to perform a database query to retrieve categories with that type. So all the categories that has their type to be equal to deal category, so we will return all those category documents from our category collection in our MongoDB. And what we are doing here is also we will return what? Just exactly the way we did earlier. We will return using the spread operator. We are going to return the original section object, and then we add what? A new category property, categories property, and inside that new categories property, we are going to add these categories that we got here. So this category is going to be an array of category objects. So it's going to be an array of category objects. So we are going to add it, and we are going to add it inside what? This new property, categories property that we created, and then we are going to give it the layout type. So where the layout type is true, where it was defined, we are going to use what? The layout type. So the layout type will be section.layout. And then without wasting time, let me just show you just the thing I showed you earlier on. So if I come here, let's remove this. And you can see we have the deal category section. It will return the original section object, which are these, which is this, and then it will add a new property called categories, and inside that it will pull all the categories, all the category document that has their type equal to deal category. So it will pull everything and put it under the categories array. So it will be an object. So this is the first object inside the array, this is the second object inside the array. So it will be an array of object of categories whose their type is equal to that deal category. So the next one that it will pull, it will be, so we're going to use the home category. So the home category just the same way, and then you see it will add the categories property and return all the objects that meet all the category objects that meet the condition, the criteria, and that's how it continues. So we can move on. So after everything, we do the same for our home section. So this is deal category. We will do the same for our home section as well. So we're going to exactly the same way I've explained. So that's what we're going to do for the home category. The featured category will do the same, and then the banners section. So the banner section too, you are going to do the same. So it will just return it. So this is the idea. We'll do the same for the banner section. So after the whole thing, you can close this. We'll close this. We'll close this. So after the whole thing, we can now return our section object. So we return our section object, and if there's an error, we'll catch the error, and then we come here and return the entire data. So remember that this is inside a promise.all, and then we're passing await to everything. So the await is actually telling it, like you can see the await here, is telling it not to execute. It will pause until all the functions here has been executed and resolved. So you can see everything is inside our data, const data. So we are running the promise.all inside here. So we are returning what? The data. So is this data that will be that will now be sent to what? The front end. So that's what we're just doing there. So what I'll just do, I'll just show you. Let me just show you a diagram of what I've been doing so far before we continue. So let's come here. So if we come here, so we have so this is what has been happening. This is the summary of everything I've been explaining since. So we have the home section, that is the database. So we have the home section, database. So it's majorly in two ways. So we have the direct sections where we don't use rule, and then we have the rule-based section. So that's just what is happening. So this is the home section collection from the database. So and we have the direct section where we don't use rules, and then we have the rule-based section. So under the direct sections, so we are talking about what? The banner slider, all the category section. We don't, so both home category, deal category, featured categories, they don't need rule, they don't require rule, so we can fetch them directly, direct section. And then a brand store that are not product based, so they don't need rule. So rule is used for the product based section. And here, so we have the rule based section. The rule based section, we have what? The flash sales, we have the product section, the product types, we have the brand store, the one that has what? Rule, that has section rule in it. So those ones we are using, we have at this point for this brand store, we are displaying product for a particular brand, but here we are displaying brand of a particular category. So a brand of a particular category, like a phone category. Now, like I mentioned, it could have brands like Tecno, Samsung, iPhone, Oraimo, itel, whereas the brand store for a rule based now is displaying the product for Tecno, for example, or displaying phones, the product for iPhones. So that's the difference. So here in the direct section, so we just use the category.find or the brand.find to get the applicable or relevant data, relevant document from our home section collection. So that's what we're using. But here we are not going to use the direct find method, so we're using the resolve. So if it's product based, we are calling on what? The resolve section function, which has a parameter of what? Rule. And from inside the resolve section function, there's what we call the build query from rule. And then from the build query from rule, we can now use the product.find query. So this is what is going on so far. So I'm going to be showing you this rule based, this resolve section, because it's actually the heart of the algorithmic queries that we're using. So it's very important. So I don't want to rush that, so you can understand what's going on, because it's the lifeblood of the dynamic rendering. So especially for the product based sections. So a small write-up here too that I made is, so for A, we have the category based section. So this fetched directly from what? The category model. So no rule logic is required here. The second, so we have the deal category. So we just go to categories where cat is equal to deal cat. So I'm going to be showing you the categories shortly too. So we have the home category where cat is equal to home cat, and then so on. So without wasting time, let me just take you to that category. So we have done the category collection. So let's have the category. So this is the category collection. So if we come to categories collection here, so you can see we have all the categories there. So everything is in one collection. So you can see the AWOOF deals. The AWOOF deals, so the AWOOF deals. So if you see the AWOOF deals, it belongs to the deal category. So you can see. So if you check now, we have the name, we have the slug, we have the image URL. So this is the image URL, and then we have we are using the thumbnail. We also generated the thumbnail, which I'm going to show you shortly. So we're using both thumbnail and image URL. So that's what we're doing. And then you can see we have the cart type. So there's a property called what? Cart type, and is equal to what? Deal cart. So that's what we used here. So you can see that deal category where what? Categories where cart type is equal to what? Deal cart. So any of the documents inside the category collection that has this cart type equal to deal cart, it belongs to what? The deal category. So that's what's just happening. So if you check another one, so we have up to 80% off. So you can see it has the image URL, the thumbnail, and then the cart type. So don't worry, I'm going to also put this, I'm going to export this and put it back in JSON format, so you can use your Postman and post it. So it will be added into the starter template. Just check it. I'm going to export it, make it in a JSON format, so you can use your Postman and try everything out. And I'm still going to show you the model and the controller for the category, so you can see everything we're doing. So just be patient with me. It's a very big, robust build. So I'm trying as much as possible to do everything in series so that we can understand the flow. So we have the card type here is also deal card, and then all these now you can see their type is deal card. That's the reason why it was returned here. So you see, so we have groceries. So groceries is also there. Then after sporting deal, we have video games, and then we have phone and tablet. So phone and tablet, now if you check, the cart type is what? Home cart. So you won't find phone and tablet here. So it is home cart. So, and you can see that's the first on the list in our home cart section. So hence this is where this holds true. So for the home cart, it's going to look into the category collection and fetch all the documents, all the category document where cart is equal to what? Home cart. So that's what we're doing here. So we can see we have the cart, home cart, so phones and tablets. The second one is TV and audio, and you can see it is home cart as well. And then the third one is a beauty must have, and is what? Home cart. So that's how we got all these. We have appliances. So, and you can see, and then we are using, so that's the idea here. So quickly, I'm just going to, let me run you through the home cart, the model, and then the controller. So if we come to our model, let's go to our model first. So we have the category schema. So if we come to our category schema here, you'll see. So inside our category schema, we have what? So you can see we have the cart type params. So inside that deal cart, home cart, or featured cart. So we have the interface for that. So we are extending iCategory extend document. So we're using this document is coming from Mongoose. This is it here. So we have the name, we have the slug, we have the image URL is an array of images, and then we have thumbnail URL, it is string, and then we have the card type. So you can see the card type is equal to the type of card type params. So it's an enum. So deal card can only be any of these three. So that's the idea. So we have the header color as well. So, and then it's undefined, it's optional. Then we have the metadata, it's also optional. So from there we come to our category schema for the layout of our category model. So we have the name, the slug, so we have the image URL, thumbnail, and then we have the card type is an enum. So an enum can only be one of these. So it's either it's deal card or home cart or featured cart. So every category we create, every category document we create must belong to any one of these. So, and that's the idea. So we export it, so we can import it in our controller. So inside our controller, if you come to our controller now, we have the category controller. So this is our category controller, and then we are using generate thumbnail. So inside our helpers, so let's go to our helpers and then bring generate thumbnails, and then we're also going to need Slugify from our utility. So we have Slugify. So cool, we're good to go. So inside our category, to create a category, we have, so this is our category. So we're getting this from our postman. So the postman, we use the postman to post this. So let's get the categories. This is our categories. So we have the body. So we're using form data because we are going to be passing image URL. So we're using form data. So that's what's going on. So after that, so this is what we use. So we have the name, the image URL, and the cart type. So that's what's going on here. So if we come outside of our postman, so we're receiving the value from our postman. This is where we'll receive it. So we'll receive the name and the card type, and then we're using the Slugify. We're using Slugify to create the slug for each category. So to create the slug for each category, we come to our component, our Slugify component, where we use the function. So what we are doing here, we're just using this little function to ensure that you can see I've written everything there. So we turn everything to lowercase. We are using trim method, and then we are using the replace to remove any special character. So like this, it will replace it with what? The proper this. Because for example, in our home cart, we had that phone and tablet. So, and this could cause error. So that's why we had to replace it. We use this using Slugify, and then So we replace this ampersand with what? And. So and then we remove invalid characters. So yes, like empty string, yeah, so white empty strings, we remove them. So and then other characters that are not valid. So and then space, so instead of using space, we replace it and change it to what? Hyphen. So anywhere there's space, it will use what? Hyphen. And then the last one, we collapse multiple what? Hyphens. So that's just what we are doing. So that's what we're using. So we are performing this function on every text, especially the name. So if we come back to our category here, so you can see that's why we're saying slugify, and I'm passing the argument is a string, is a text, and then is a what? Is a type of string. So that's why we're using the name, because the name is also what? Is a string, and it's a text, so it's a type of string. So you can see, so hence there's no error. So we're using the slug, and then we're through the slugify, so we're able to make everything. So if I come and show you, let's see from here. Okay, see, from beauty must have, we have space between them. So but if you check the slug, instead of the space, it's using what? Hyphen. You can see it's using hyphen. And then if we go to phone and tablet, so instead of using the ampersand, you can see there's hyphen, and then it's using and then so you can see everything is working out fine. So that was what we used. So from there we have our image URL. So it's an array of string. Then for the thumbnail, we're using the thumbnail generator. So this is the thumbnail generator. It has an argument of files, and we're using Malta here. So we're using Malta for the whole thing. So here we use it to sanitize the file name. So that's what we're doing here. Sanitize the file name. So we use the sanitize file name. So it's inside my file helper. It's inside my utils. So if we come to utils, let's go to our utility and file helper. So this is it. So sanitize file name. So this is also help us remove all ambiguities, so that it will not affect our code, just like we did for slugify. So we remove everything except letters plus what? Numbers. So that's what we left there. So then fallback if name becomes empty. So that's what we're using this for. So and that's it about the sanitize file name. Simple enough, we don't need to waste time on that. So after that, so I've talked about this extensively. So here we sanitize the file name, then we build the thumbnail part here. This is where we build the part of the thumbnail. So and the part is inside assets. So that's why we have it inside our assets folder, and then we generate. So we're using sharp. So we installed sharp earlier on our dependencies. So that's it. We install sharp from sharp, and then we are using our so we're pushing the URL. So we're using the image part. We change the image part to this. So the push. So we're calling what? The base part. So the base part is from our config. If we go to our config, so inside our config, so we have the base part. So this is it for if you are using, like I said, if you are using Mac. If you are using a Mac computer, so you don't need all this. You just replace the IP address with what? Localhost, and then you can go continue with your port, and then where you want to save your image. So that's what we just did here. So we're using this base part. So we come here, and this is it, and then plus the file name. So we're using the file name that we got here, and after that, I think that's all. So we return the image part, and then we're good to go. So we're good to go. So that's how we get our thumbnail. This is how we got the thumbnail. So we're good to go, and then we can come to. So we're just using the function here. So we see. So when we want to add, so we're going to generate the thumbnail. So we have the image part and the thumbnail part, and then this is where we're calling what? The generate thumbnail function that I just showed you now, and we're passing the file. We're passing the file into it, the image file. We're passing it, so it will generate what? A thumbnail. It will reduce the size, so it will not be. It reduces the size, and then so you can see most of these real world complex app. What they do is, especially when it comes to the home feed, they majorly use the thumbnails because the size is smaller. It's smaller in size, and so it can quickly be displayed. Whereby the main images will what? They will fetch them underground. So they use thumbnail first, then switch to the original images, or some they will even use this thumbnail for the home feed. So when you get to product details, where you need to display array of images, So you can use the main image. So by that time, the main image will have been what will have been fetched and cached. So after doing all that here, we use the generate thumbnail, and then we come here inside the category. So this is where we save. So we're saving the name, we're saving this log, we're saving the image URL, the thumbnail URL, and then we have saving the cat type, and we're saving everything into what category dot what save, and that's the thing. So we're good to go. So we'll come to our postman. So this is where we post the data. The only thing you just need to send here is what the name, and you add the image, and then you add the cat type. Every other thing will be done inside the controller. Like this log will be done inside the controller, and the thumbnail will be generated inside the controller. So we are good to go. So this is how we add or post a category to the backend that you are seeing in the MongoDB. So this is the function for get all categories. So we want to return all the categories. So this is just the function for that. I think this is simple enough. And then we want to update category. So if you want to update category, so this is the function for that in our controller, and then delete category. So I think we're good to go. So inside our index.controller too, so we'll see the category controller. So just the way I've explained for the home section, so you can see the category. This is the category. This is the category controller, and then the same thing goes inside our. So we have the category root. Let me quickly show you the category root inside our category root. So this is our category root. So you can see we're calling all our category, all the controllers. You can see all the controllers here. So here we are using upload product images from our middleware, and then let's go to our middleware. So inside our middleware we have the upload, and inside there we're using the sanitize file, and we're using the base part, and we're also using Malta. And here, so this is where we configure the disk storage, and then the Malta uploader, we use Malta uploader to upload our image. So this is where we upload it, both the thumbnail and the image we upload them to our asset folder. So we say storage is image storage. So the image storage is the image storage, and we say it's going to store inside the asset folder. And then so we apply the sanitize file here, and then to sanitize our base name, and then we get the file and then the path. So we get the type, that JPEG, PNG, and so on. So here, this is where we now upload we upload it using Malta. So we upload it. So storage, it will be our image storage limit. So we define the limit. So the file size, so this is where we define it. So we're saying maximum it should be more than 5 MB. So then file filter. So this is the file filter. So comes the allowed format, so that JPEG, JPG, PNG, or GIF. So any format that is not part of this will be disallowed. It won't save it. It will throw an error. So we are getting the extension. So the extension. So if you can see, we're saying if allowed.test. So it's not part of the extension. If it's not if it doesn't align, we're going to throw an error and say only image files are allowed. So that's the idea. So that's what we're just doing here. So this is the upload this is the upload function that we called earlier. So and this is, so we are passing the upload here to it. So you can see the upload here. So that's what we'll pass it. This is where we upload. So export specialized upload middleware. So this is where we upload it, and then I think we're good to go. So map file URL, we don't really need it right yet. So if we need it later, we'll come back to it. But this is what we are using currently. So we're using the upload product images. So and then we're passing our upload to it, and so it can be an array. It's an array. So an array means it could be one, it could be more than one. So that's the thing. So that's what we're just doing here. So I think we are good to go. So in the root, in the category root, so we are using we are calling we call the upload product image. So you can see, so we can upload it in our API here. So and then we are using the create category. So this is where the product is uploaded to our asset folder. So that's the idea. So we're having the create category, we have the get all cart, and then we have the update. So this is the update. So we want to also update in case it's the images that want to be updated. So that's why we're passing it again. And then we have the delete. And after that, we export router. So we export our router as category root. So and then for our category root, we also have the index. So the same like our controller. So we can see export everything category root. So we're good to go, and then it will now come to our Malta, and it will now come to our Express in our services. So that's the final thing we'll do. So inside our Express, you can see we have the category. So we have to import. We import what category root from what, from our index, and then so we import it from our index, and we have what the category. So categories and what category root ends in our postman. So there's what categories. Cool. So it's looking for that. So that's it. So that's what it's looking for. So I think we're good to go with our category schema. So we can continue. So let's take all this out. Category root. So if we come back to our explanation here, so that's what's going on. So that's why we have home category. So we are looking for these criteria. So card type is equal to deal cart. That is what deal category, and where card type equal to, if card type is equal to home cart, then it is what home category. So this is for the category based sections, and like we have it, just a reminder. So you can see we have the card type home cart, and then we have this is deal cart. So that's it. That's the thing. So the next one is the rule-based section. So it's the rule-based product section. So here we fetch dynamically from what resolve section. So that's what I'm going to be showing you right now, how this whole resolve section works. So, and I'll really advise that you pay attention, because this is the heart of the whole thing. So you need to pay attention, get to understand what's going on, follow carefully, and even if you have to pause and replay, please do, because once you get it, you are already in the architecture of this complex app. How they do their things dynamically, this is where it is. So you need to pay attention. So we fetch dynamically from resolve section, and then we pass the argument of rule. So it uses what build query. I'm going to be showing you all that, the build query, and then we have the product. So the product can either be a grid or horizontal layout. So the same thing goes for what the flash sales. So quickly, without wasting time, let's go to that and get started. So I'll come here. The first thing I want to bring up is what the product schema. It's very important that we see the product schema at this point. So we have the product schema, and then let's go to our home controller. So inside our home controller, we have the resolve section. So let's bring up the resolve section. So it's inside our service. It's in our services folder. So we have section query service. We'll bring that up. So you can see we have the function here, the resolve section. So inside that we have the build query. So the build query will be inside our utility. So we go to our utils folder. This is our build query. So we also need to bring up our section rule from our types. So our section rule, we're going to be using that, and then we also need to bring up, okay, I think that's all we require now. So for now, so let's go to our build query. So I think we're good to go. So if we come back to our home section here, our home section, get home section. So get home sections. So if we come to our get home sections, and then we come to our, or let's go to our home section schema first. So our home section schema, we have inside the interface, the home section interface. So we have what we call rule, and the rule is of type section rule. So we need to get section rule and show you what section rule is all about. So section rule is from our TypeScript. So let me bring that closer here, so we can close this, so we have more space. So the section rule, so we have the section rule here. So the section rule is what we actually use for filtering our query. So what we are doing here is inside the section rule, so you can see we have category, we have section, we have brand, we have vendor, we have minimum discount, maximum discount, minimum stock, maximum stock, is flash sales, is promo flag, tags. So this is what we use for filtering. This is for our query. So this is our query. So this will form our query. Let's use query. I think query is more appropriate. So this will be our query. So when we want to query the product, our product collection, we are using, it could be any of these. So if you like, you can expand it, you can write more to it. This is just a tutorial to show you how it works. So this is where the query is based. So you can fetch a product based on the category, based on their categories. So you can fetch product based on section, you can fetch product based on brand, you can fetch it based on vendor, you can fetch it based on the discount, the minimum or maximum discount. You can fetch it based on the stock level. So maybe it's like the limited stock deal. So it's talking about the stock levels. So you can query product based on what flash sales. So you want to know the product that are for flash sales. So that's the thing. So you can query product based on the promo flag or based on tags. So that's what we are using it for, query. After that, so there are just three things going on. The first one is query, the second one is sort. So when you fetch this product based on the query, based on the rule that you are giving to it, so you want to also sort this product. Either you want to sort it, so we'll come to sorting. And the third one is the limit. So there are just three things in everything that you are seeing here now. There are just three things. Don't be scared about it. There are just three things going on. Number one is the query, number two is the sort, and number three is what? Limit. These are the three things. So when it comes to sorting, so we have what? We pass the sorting option. So it can be either a string or an array of sort option. So if you come here, we have the sort option here. So this is how we sort our products when we fetch them. So you can use any of these. You see how these things connect to each other. Just be patient and follow along carefully. So we have the sort options here. So for the sort option, you can sort product based on best selling, so based on performance. So you can sort product, you display them. So that means those that performs well, those that are selling faster will be displayed first in the rank. So will be first on the list when you are displaying those products. So you want to display those that are performing well, that are selling fast, so or by popularity, or the ones that are trending, maybe based on the views, maybe having more views, more reviews, so it's trending. So you can also sort product, you can display product based on what the price. If you want to filter maybe by the one that has lower price or the one that has higher price, so depending on how you want to display it, how you want it to be sorted. So you can display product based on flash sales priority. You can be maybe new arrivals. So you want the new product, maybe for that section is the product that I just added. That's what you want to be showed. That's what you want to display first. Those ones that were just added before the ones that have been existing. So that's the new arrivals. So we have clearance priority, we have relevance, we have sponsored. Because in this e-commerce website, this like Jumia and Amazon, they have section for sponsored product. These are the product that the vendors they actually pay for, so that they can be displayed. They can be given a special section so that viewers get to see this product. So they pay. It's like a promotion. They are promoting their product, and then you could have what's random. So and the list goes on. So this is just a tutorial, like I said, just to make you understand, so you can expand it. So after that, so this is the sort option. So if we come here inside the sort option, so that's what we're passing to it. So we have the sort. So it could be a string. If it's a string, that means maybe for the product it has only one sort option, so we'll treat it as what a string. And if it's more than one, it becomes what's an array of sort options. So you're going to see it. So the limit, like for the home feed, we don't want to display all the products. Let's say we have 100 products that meet the criteria or the conditions from the query. So we don't want to display 100. We don't want to display 100, so we can just limit it to maybe 10, 15, 20. So that's why we're passing what? The limit function. That's why we're using limit here. So that's the section rule. So after the section rule, we'll come into the resolve. So this resolve. So if we let's come to our section, our home section controller. So inside the home section controller, so we're saying if section.type is equal to flash sales. So if it's equal to flash sales, or it's equal to brand store, or it's equal to product, and it has section rule, so we are going to call the resolve section function. So the resolve section, so if you come here, let's say, so that I make it more practical. So if you come to our home section, for example, if you come to our home section, you will see that, let's say, our flash sales, yes, so it's product based. You can see that it has rule. So the section has what? Rule. See, the rule is not empty. If we go to category, it does no rule there. See, it's null. It's null because we are fetching category directly. We are not applying rules to it. But if you see our flash sales, for example, it has rule, and inside the rule you can see we have the minimum discount of 20, we have the maximum discount of 70. Is flash sales true? And then you can see the sort. So we have the sort. So we're sorting it by flash sales priority and by best selling. So I'm going to be showing you everything what it's doing, and then we have the limit is what? 10. So this is one of the home section document. So if we come here now, let's take it one after the other. So what this is saying, that for this flash sales section, we only want to fetch product whose minimum discount is not less than 20, and the maximum is not greater than 70. So if it's less than 20, it is not qualified. It will be removed. It will filter it out. And if the discount is greater than 70, it is not what qualified. It will also be removed. So if it passes these two criteria, then it will go to what if it is flash sales. So we want to check the product if the product has flash sales equal to true. If flash sales is not equal to true, but the minimum and maximum discount were correct, it will still also reject it. So flash sales must be what true for that. So it has to pass these three criteria before the query can work. So for the rule now, the minimum discount, maximum discount is flash sales equal to true. They are the query. So you will see it very shortly. That's the query. So after that, we have the sort. So we will now sort. So all the product, it will fetch all the product that meets these criteria, these conditions, and then we now want to sort it. We still want to sort it. We don't want to display them like that. We want to sort it based on what their flash sales priority and best selling. So if we come down here, what do we mean by flash sales priority and best selling? So that's the next thing we look into. So if you come here, for example, so you can see this is where we have all our sort options and what it means. So we have the sort map. That's what it's using. So like I said, you need to pay more attention at this point. So we have the sort map. So inside the sort map, we declare a constant sort map, and we're using a record. We're using record from TypeScript. So and then inside the record, we are passing what? We're passing sort option. And inside that sort option, we're passing another record, string, and sort order. So do not freak out. I'm just going to show you what this means. So if you come to the record here now, you can see this is our record. So inside the record, this is just what's going on. Let me just quickly explain that here. So inside the record is just like a key and key to value mapping. Just the same way we have, you can see, just the same way we can say name. Name is the key, and then the value, we can say value is what John. So this is what record is just doing. It's giving us, so record helps us to know the type of that key and the type of the value. So in this context now, the type of the key is it could be a string. So if it's a string, we could say, so we'll say it's a string, and then the value is also a string. So this is the key, name is the key, and the value is John. So inside the record is saying the key. So this is defining the type of the key. What is the key type? So the key type is sort option, and sort option, remember, is what we just mentioned earlier. You can see them. So in short, what we're now saying here is that this sort option now we're using it as is an enum. Remember, it's an enum. It's just like an enum, or we also call it union of string literals. So this sort option represents the possible sorting options. So if you write anything that is not within this list, now it will throw an error. So it will throw an error. So what is happening now is, so these are the these are the sorting options. We have best selling, popularity, trending, price low, price high, and so on. So the sort option is the key type here, is the key type, and the value type is another record. You'll see why we are doing that. So the second record now is saying that the key for the second record must be a string. So the type of the key for this record now, for this value of this record, for the value, so it must be a string, and then the value will now be a sort order. This sort order is coming from our Mongos. So you can see sort order. So what this sort order is just mentioning here is just telling us how Mongo sort documents. So we want to use Mongo ways of sorting documents. So Mongo sort order is either you are using one for ascending, or you are using for descending. So that's what we are calling here. So that's just what is happening. So we are just using the way we are recognizing the way Mongo store document. You can see it's already showing it. So it's a type sort order. So it's either 1 or -1, ascending, which is for ascending, or descending. So this is the way Mongo's sort document. So that's what we are saying. So anyone you use out of this is actually will be accepted. So we'll be using 1 and -1, ascending and descending. So ASC is ascending, DES is descending, ascending or descending. So it's from Mongos. So the value is also another key to value pair. So that's what is happening. So, and that's why you have it here. So we have the key. The key here is the sales count, and it must be a string. So that's why it's not throwing an error. So that because we said it is a string, and then the value is so you see is Mongo sort order. So the value we are using -1, and this is descending order. So descending order. So if we are saying sales count now is in descending order, so this means that from what the highest to what to the lowest. So it will first of all check those products that was returned and check their sales count. So the ones that has higher sales count will be displayed first. So that's what we are doing here. So it's in descending order. It's from the highest to the what to the lowest. So the ones that has higher sales count will be displayed first. So they are the best selling. We have popularity. So popularity we check what the rating. So the rating must be in what in descending order. That means the one that has highest rating. So first we come up first. Then the review count is also descending order. That means the ones that has highest review. So and then the sales count. So we're still using sales count. The ones that have highest sales first will be displayed first. So you can see that's how sorting works. That's how the sorting order works. So we have the trending. Those that are trending. So we're just using these combinations. So we have sales count. The ones that have highest sales count and the one that has highest view count first. So they are the trending. So it goes descending order. So we have the price low. So we are checking in ascending order. So it will be the one lowest price first will display first when it comes to price low. If you want to, so price low, product with the lowest prices will come up first. Price high is in descending order. So it will be product with the higher price will come up first. Then the one we used in our flash sales section is flash sales priority. So you can see the flash sales priority is using deal end date, which is it will be in ascending order, and then the sales count which is what descending order. So the deal end date in ascending order means those deals that are closest. So those deals whose end date are closer, so they are nearing end date. So those ones will be displayed first, and then we also check the sales count. So those are the two criteria that it will use to sort when you are using flash sales priority. So you can see that's why we came here. So we have the flash sales. So we have the flash sales is true. So the sort is what we are using, the flash sales priority, and then best selling. So and then the limit, we are limiting it to the first 10 product document. That's what it will return. So let's just go to the build query. I believe now you have an ample understanding of this. So this is the build query. So we'll now come to the build query from rule. So we are going to build a query from the rule. So we are passing the rule. We are passing the rule, and is a type of what section rule. Remember our section rule from here. So this is our section rule. So we're passing the rule into that. So and then we are returning what we will return a query result. So what is the query result? Is what I mentioned before. So if you come here, this is the query result. There are just three things. Number one is the query. Number two is the sort, and number three is the limit. So the query is going to use filter query. Filter query is also from Mongoose, just like we have sort order from Mongoose. It's also a naming convention used in Mongoose. So what do we use the filter for? So there are some naming convention that Mongoose uses, because we are going to be sending the query to Mongoose. So we need to use the Mongoose query convention so that there won't be mismatch. So it will understand our query. So you are going to see those conventions very shortly. So if we quickly come down, let me close this. So if we come down, so we want to initialize the result. The query result. So we are getting the query. Number one is a query, and then we are adding the filter query from Mongoose, and is of product. So product schema we want to look at the product schema, and then the sort, just we have explained here. So the sort is going to use the record. So it's a key to value pair. It's a key to value pair. So the key must be of a type of string, whereas the value must be of a type of sort order. This sort order, it must be of this type. Anything outside this will throw an error, it won't accept it. So that's what we're saying. And then we're setting the initial value to an empty object, then the limit. So rule.limit. So if the rule.limit is true, that means they provided the limit. Or else it will use a default limit of 20. So we'll come here. So this is where we're building the query rule. So if we come here, just to show you the filter query from Mongoose, like I said earlier, just to show you that. So if you come to, for example, the min discount, so you can see this is the filter query we're talking about. If you're familiar with Mongoose, you know that Mongoose is what they use. So you want to get when you query the product collection, you want to look for the ones that, so this is what greater than equal to. So this is what MongoDB uses for greater than equal to, and then this is what MongoDB uses for less than equal to. So this thing, we are getting this naming convention, we're getting it through the filter query. So that's the idea. That's what it's doing there. So I hope you understand what we're talking about now better. So that's what this filter query is doing. It's from Mongoose. So it's from Mongo, so that's what we're using it for. It helps us to align with what Mongo's naming convention. So here, so this is where the core filters are. So I'll call that query. So the first one we want to check, we want to look is if the rule.query is true. That means for that section they want to filter, they want to use what the category. So query, if rule.query is true, then we are going to say query.category equal to what rule.category. So the query.category, remember the query is of type of what? Product. So let's get the product type. So we have the product schema. So this is the product type, this is the interface. So if you look at it, you see that it makes sense. So every product must belong to a category, it must belong to a brand. So that's the idea. So that's where the whole thing holds true. So we have the product, these are the properties and these are the types. So we have the name, we have a slug, we have description, we have image URL, we have price, original price, discount, SKU, rating, review count. You can see quantity, and then we have the promotional logic. So deal start date, deals end date. So you can see the promo flag is there. Then it's flash sales. You can see all the things that we needed in our rule. So it's flash sales is there. Then we have the categorization. You can see, so every product must belong to a category, every product must belong to a brand, every product also necessarily belong to an array of sections. So we can have one product belonging to different sections. For example, like our home cart section or our home section, we can have in our home section, if we come here in our home section, for example, so we have some products that are inside that are flash sales, and since it's phone, it can also belong to what? It can also belong to let's say phone deals. So you get, so that's the idea. And then there are some, it can also belong to what? The limited stock deals, depending on how the product is depending on the product performance. It can also become on it can also belong to sponsored product section if the vendor paid paid to promote what the product, so that it can convert, it can have a small sales. So that's why we are using the section. The section can belong to what? Multiple what? A product can belong to multiple section. So that's why we are using this. And then subcategories, so it can also belong to what? A subcategory. So a product, let's say for this Samsung Galaxy now, so Samsung Galaxy can belong to a subcategory. The subcategory could be Samsung, so Samsung is a subcategory, and then it can also belong to other subcategories. So we'll get there when we get to the category section, so we don't need that right now, so we'll not dwell much on it. We have tab nav category, so we'll get to this when we get there, you understand. So we have the tags. So we have the tags, it's an array of string, and then we have the sorting metric. So you can see, so everything is embedded inside every product, and that's how it works. So for every product, you monitor the sales count as customers are buying the product. It keeps counting the number of people, the number of sales that product has. So you can see that's how we know the logic. That's how we get to know best selling. So if it has the highest selling sales count, so it's best selling. So those one that has highest sales count are best selling. So every time a customer press on the particular product to view it or to check the product details, we also keep track of it. And then there's the view count, it keeps counting. So you see, so that's how we know the product that are trending. So you see, it makes sense. So last sold at, and then we have the relevance score. This is used for sponsored product, and then we have the sponsored rank. So when a vendor pay to promote their product, they actually give it a rank. There's a score that is allotted to the product based on the amount paid or the negotiation. So that's it. And every product must belong to a vendor. So that's the thing. So you can have one product with multiple vendors. So it's through this we can now separate and distinguish what the product and the vendors that own it, so that when a sale occur, you can push the product to the appropriate vendor. So every product must also have a vendor. So that's the idea. I hope this makes sense. So you can extend this, and this is, just remember, this is for a tutorial, just for you to understand what's going on. So this is what we have here. This is the product interface, this is the type. So, and that's what we're calling inside our. So we can bring this down and go back to our build query from row. So that's why we're using the product interface here. So So from our query here, we're using the filter query, and then we're using the product. So that's why when we come here and we do the core filters or query, so we can say if rule.query is true. If rule.query, that means for that rule we are making use of what? The category. So we'll check what we'll say query.category, and remember this is a query. It is what? It is of what type of what? Product. And inside product we have what? Category. So we are saying we will not type query.category equal to rule.category. So if rule.section and the type is of rule.section is equal to string, if it's equal to string, so we are saying query.section equal to what? Rule.section. And then the next one is if rule.brand is true, then we want to get query.brand equal to rule.brand, and so on. So if rule.vendor is true, if it's provided, then query.vendor equal to what? Rule.vendor. So you can see where we are assigning them. We're assigning rule. We're assigning rule to what? To this section rules. We're assigning rule to it. So for the discount range, so if rule.minimum discount is not equal to undefined, that means minimum discount was provided, is not empty, and then rule.max discount is not equal to undefined, it was provided. If any of them is not equal to undefined, well, what we are going to do, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to make query.discount, and then we're going to initialize it here, and then we'll now come here and check if rule.minimum discount is not equal to undefined, then query. So we want to check anyone that is not equal to undefined there. So query.discount so we're now using the filter query, so dot greater than equal to will be rule.minimum discount. So and then for the maximum discount, if query.discount so if rule.maximum discount is not equal to undefined, then query.discount less than equal to what? Rule.maximum discount. So for the minimum stock, it will look for the product whose current stock is greater than or equal to the provided value, the provided minimum stock. So and then for the maximum, it will do the opposite. It will look for the product whose quantity is less than or equal to the provided value. So this is for flash sales. It will check if flash sales is equal to true. So it will check all the product document that has the flash sales equal to true. So the query. So that's what we're doing here. Then for the promo, this is also for the promo. So we'll check for, so what we're just doing here, we'll check if it's an array. So if it's an array, we'll look for the product document that has their promo, that contains the provided promo. So that's why we're using this operator. So what we're doing is it will check if it's an array. So it will check inside the array any of the product that contains any of the product document whose promo flag contains the specified promo flag here that we're passing as rule, or if it's not an array, it's a string, so it will just use rule.promo flag. So it will just look for the document. So here the same thing goes for what tags too. The same thing goes for tags. So we now come here to sort. So almost the same thing goes for sorting. So this is this to sort, and then so we're good to go here. So this build query from row is what now we will now bring to what? Our section query service, our resolve section. So you see that we have imported build query from row. We imported it, and then inside this we said if there's no rule, if rule is false, if it's false, then it will return. It won't even continue. Don't continue with it. Else it will call what? The build query from rule, and then destructure it. Then we're passing the argument here, rule, and the rule is equal to section rule. Do not forget section rule. So these are the section rule. So it will pass the rule into it, and we are destructuring the build query. Remember, there are three things. Like I said, there are three things involved. So it's just query, sort, and limit. So it will destructure the three. So it destructure the three of them. Here we're not going to be using this in this tutorial. So once it destructured them, so what we do here now, based on the query, the sort, and the limit, we will fetch the applicable or appropriate product from our product collection. So that's why we now come here and say product. So we await, we say product.find. See, we are now passing the query. We're passing the query. So once it fetches the product document that meets the condition, it will now sort them. It will sort all the products that meet that condition, sort them according to the provided sorting criteria, and then after that, it will now apply what? The limit. So if it's 10, based on the defined limit. So that's just the idea. So we're now saying if it's not product.length, if it doesn't find any, it will return what? No product matched what? The query. Else it will what? Return the product. So it will return the product. So quickly, without wasting time, if I bring you to So if we come here, let me just show you what the query will look like. So this is it. So we have, like we have here, so we have what the product, then dot find, so it will apply the query. So the query will look like this, you can see. So it will be product dot find, so this will be the query. So the query will be, so the category, so the category that is passed, that was passed, and then if it has brand, so like, let me just show you everything the way. So we have it here. So the role, so if role.category is true, so query.category will be role.category, and so you can see, so category, so if the category is true, if the category was passed, that means category is one of the role, is one of the queries, one of the conditions there. So the category is true, so this is how it will look like. So it will first of all check what the category, so go and look for all the product that has this category. That's the first thing it will do. After it checks all the product that has this category, so you can see in that the query we also have brands, so it will check for the product that has this category, and the next thing it will check for the product that has this category and this brand. So that's what is going on. So hence we have it in our, so that's why we also have is brand. If that brand is true, it will change it. What the query.brand will be what rule.brand. So that's what's going on. And then you can see after that, once it finds the product that meets this criteria, it will go to what the discount. So you can see, and this is what how MongoDB queries the back end. So it uses greater than equal to, this is how it works, and then less than equal. So it will check the product. For example, now our product, in our product schema, we don't have minimum and max discount. What we have is discount. So however, it will still hold true without throwing an error. So if you come here, we have only discount. So you see we only have discount here. We don't have minimum and max discount, so it's not significant. So what will happen here when it comes here, so here it will look into the product schema, it will look into the product document, and it will check for the product whose discount is greater than or equal to 20 and the discount is less than or equal to 70. So any product with discount less than 20, it will be rejected automatically. Without even checking the second one. So but if you see any product that with the discount greater than or equal to 20, then it will go ahead and check if the discount of the product is less than and not greater than 70. So it's either it's less than and equal to 70. So it will check the product must meet these two criteria before it can pass this stage. After this stage, the next thing it will check is the quantity. So it will check for the quantity inside our build query. We have a quantity to be, we use the minimum and the maximum quantity too. So it's insignificant when it comes to the role. When it comes to the Mongo's query, it will check it this way, just the same way we've written it. So it will check for once it has passed this criteria, it will come to the next criteria and check for those product that has been filtered already. That's what it will check now. It will now look into the product that have passed the first stage, second stage, and third stage. So those are the ones it is going to check. So the third stage, it will look at those products at the third stage and check if their quantity is greater or equal to 10, and if the quantity is less than or equal to 500. So any product that meets this criteria will pass the fourth stage, you see. And then after that, it will go to the promo flag and check. So this is the condition, this is the promo flag that was specified. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for the product with what flash and clearance in their promo flag. So it will check, it will check the product that have passed this stage, this quantity stage, and check the ones that has what promo flag, that has it will check the ones that have promo flag equal to what flash and what clearance. So if those ones that meet that criteria will pass through to the next stage. So it will go beyond, it will go after promo flag, it will come to tags, and then it will check the ones that are electronics and gaming. It will pass through it. After that, it will come into its flash sales and get what the ones out of the ones here that pass the tags, the tag phase. It will now check the one that has what is flash sales equal to what true. So those are the ones it will return. This is just an example. So your query may not be as much as this, and why not? It depends on what you want. So that's what makes it dynamic and heavily reliable without you needing to change the front end. Everything happens in the back end. So once it has filtered the product and it will now return all the product that meets this criteria. For example, in our example now, it will return all the product that meets this criteria. So after returning the product, if there are 5 products that meet this criteria, it will now come down here and then perform another filter. So this here now is we want to rearrange. We want to arrange the product based on the sort criteria. So we have the sort criteria. So sales count. So sales count. So sales count is in what is in descending order. So that is what the ones that has the highest count first will come. Then the rating is in also descend. That's the highest to lowest. So it will. So this is how it's going to sort it. So it's going to show the product that meets that has the highest sales count first, that has the highest sales count and highest rating count first before the ones that has lower. So that's the thing, and then it will only return 12, the first 12 that meet this criteria. That's what will be returned. I hope this explains it. This is simple enough. Just go through it, try it out, work on it, practicalize it, and you get it. Once you understand it, you're good to go. So going to our MongoDB. So if we come to our MongoDB now, we can now look through. So these ones are straightforward. Home category. So we can look into our top seller section, for example. So top seller section is other 5. Then we have the layout is horizontal, header, background color, and then we have the rule. So if we come into the rule here now, you can see for top seller section is only looking for the product whose minimum stock, the minimum stock is 3, and then the minimum stock is 3. We didn't add any promo flag, and then let's check. We didn't add any tags. Any tag was not added, and then we have what best selling. So for this now, for top sellers, so the only rule that was added here is what minimum stock. So if we quickly write that, let me show you what that would look like for our query here. So if we come here now, we could just say, so we could just take this, and then if we bring it down here, so here these ones are not needed. It was not defined, so there's no category there. So the only thing is using minimum stock. So discount also was not defined, so we remove discount. So this is the query. So the promo flag was not defined. This was not also defined. So this is the only thing in there, and then is using what best selling. So here the query is, this is the query. The query will be, so the query here is what is quantities, minimum count, minimum stock. So minimum stock equal to 3. So we're looking for a product whose minimum stock query, we're looking for minimum stock is equal to what 3. So minimum stock equal to 3. So we'll come here inside our quantity, because in the product there's nothing like minimum stock there. What we have is what is quantity. So we are going to use quantity, and if you come to our, where is it? Let me show you. So if you come here, you have the stock. So you can see query.quantity. So that's what it's using. So, and remember, the query is of type of product. We passed our product type into what? To the query. So you can see product, and inside our product schema, the product is what we have is quantity. You can see. So that's where the whole thing is happening. So what we have there is quantity. So if you come here, we have the minimum stock. So we are saying query.quantity will be equal to what? The rule. The query.quantity. So if minimum stock is true, so in this our case now, minimum stock is true. So we are saying query.quantity is equal to what? Rule.what? Minimum stock. And but in this context now, maximum stock was not provided, so it is false. It's undefined. So if it's not undefined, that's when we will use this. So if it's undefined, it will bypass it. It will make use of it. So here now, what will now happen is it's using minimum stock. So the minimum stock, if it's minimum stock, so we are saying if it's minimum stock, it should be greater than or equal to 3. So here we won't use this in this context, and this will be what? 3. So this is what it's looking for. And then if we go back to our rule, so the sort is using best selling. So best selling is best selling. So the sort best selling here. So we have best selling sort. Sorry. So we have best selling. So best selling will be, so the sort will be sort. So we're saying best selling. So best selling, what does best selling mean? So if we come here, so we have inside our sort map, so we look for best selling. So best selling means what? Sales count in what? In descending order. So that's why you can see because it's best selling, so it is going to change it. The Mongo will change it, so it knows that best selling because we've passed it. So that best selling is what? Sales count what? In descending order. So that's how powerful it is. So it is going to use what? The best selling. So if we come here, you can see That's why we have the sort when we are building the query from role. So we have the sort, and it's a record. So we're passing the record. It is a key value pair, and then we're saying the key must be of type of string, and then the value must be of sort order. Like, I hope you still remember that. So hence we have this. So we have best selling. So best selling and best selling means what? Sales count in what? Descending order. So that's why it will now pass sales count in the descending order. And then the limit, what is the limit here? So the limit is what? 10. So the limit here will be what? 10. So to change the limit to what? 10. So this is what it will look for. So this is what it will look for. So the query will now be quantity. Is looking for quantity. So it's looking for the product whose quantity is what? Is greater than 3, is greater than or equal to 3, and then you are going to set it based on the performance, on the sales count. So we are going to get the ones that we are going to display, the ones that have highest sales count first, the highest sales count. So, and it we're getting the first 10. So that's how it's going to fetch it from MongoDB. So that's what the top seller section is looking for. So if we come to our product selection here, so if we come to let's go to our top seller section. So we see the first one on the list here is the Philly 65 type C. So let's look for that. I think currently has the highest sales, that's why it's coming out. So let's look for it. We have the power bank. So this is it. So we have the Philly 65 watt type C charger. So if we check it, let's see. So the discount is 5, so it meets the criteria. The discount is currently 5, so it meets it. And then we have the sales count. Sales count is 300. It has 300 sale count. And let's check the second one and see if everything aligns. That is a Apple iPhone XR. So we have Apple iPhone XR. So you can see the sale count. You can see this is working perfectly. So you can see the sale count here is 105, and then the quantity is 18. So thing is the highest. It has the second highest. So let's Redmi 15. Let's see Redmi 15 shouldn't be higher than the two we just mentioned now. So let's check Redmi 15. Redmi 15 is here. So if we check Redmi 15, the quantity is 30, the quantity is 27, and then the sales count is 91. You can see this is beautiful. So we have 91, we have 135, and we have 300. Let's check for the fourth one. The fourth one is PL 2 pieces power bank. So let's come down. I think it's from Philly. That's it. 205. This is it. So you see this one is 84, and this is beautiful. You can see. So all the admin needs to do is to change from back end. Everything you do from back end is rendered from front end in the front end without you needing to change the front end codes. So that's the superpower there. So I think we're good to go. And then I think the only thing I've not showed you from the back end now is the product, how we created the product schema, the product controller, the route, and then the express. So but before we go to that, let's check another section. So let's check another section. Okay, let's see the product, the sponsored product, and then we can see the phone deals. It's only the phones that is showing there. See, you only find the phones there. So let's check the phone deals out. Let's see what was the rule there. So if we go to our home section, let's check for phone deals. So this is phone deals. So we have the rule. Let's go to the rule. So max discount will be 70, minimum discount is 1, and then category. So you see this one is using category. That's the reason why you did not find the charger wasn't there. Then you didn't find the power bank. When power bank wasn't there, it's not there. So you can see this is working perfectly because this is using what? A category. So and then inside that we have, let's see, in the promo there was nothing, the tag nothing. Okay, so we have another criteria here. So tags is what? Smartphone. So we're checking that. So then we have the sort. So best selling too. So it's based on sales count. So quickly let me show you what the rule will look like. So in the rule we are going to need the category. So the category ID is very important. So that's the first thing it will do. So we'll come here inside our rule. So if we are to build our rule here now, so it's going to take the category. Or let's just copy this so that we'll avoid unnecessary mistakes. So we'll come here. So we'll come here and then we'll say, So it's going to use this category. It will use this category down here. So let's copy the category. So it will use this. So we're not using brown, so we can remove this. So he says the next condition there is the maximum discount will be 70 and minimum discount must be 1. So it will look for all the product that has this category, that has its category equal to this category. Then after that it will look for the discount. So the discount, say greater than equal to, it must be greater than equal to 1, and then less than equal to 70. That's what it said, right? Yes. So max discount is 70, so it's less than equal to 70. So after that we'll have we'll have the tag. So inside the tag, so we are looking for the product who has the tag smartphone. So we're looking for product with the tag smartphone. So here we're using 1, so it will just come here, and then it will be smartphone here. So here will be smartphone. So that's it. So it will look for it and find the one that has what smartphone, and then we're not using promo flag here, so we can remove this. So we're using quantity. It was quantity mentioned. So discount. Oh, so it's discount and mean stock. So it's discount and quantity rather. So we're using this. So this is the only one that will be applicable, and then the minimum stock, it must be greater or equal to 1. So products that are out of stock will not be counted. So this is it. So it's not flash sale, so we remove this. So this is what the query will look like. And then sort is still using best selling, so we remove this, and it's what's limited to 10. So this is what will be sent to the MongoDB. So we'll check the product that has their category inside the product collection. We'll check all the product documents that has its category property equal to this category ID. Then it will return all the products. So all those products that meet this first criteria will be returned. Then it will perform the second check, the ones that has their discount, the one that have their discount greater than less than equal to 70. So it will filter it and bring those ones that pass this criteria, this condition. Then it will move to the third one. It will check the product that have quantity greater than or equal to 1. So it will check it and return only those products. After that, it will check the tags from the product. After the quantity, it will go into the ones that met the condition above, and check if their tag check the tag property of all the product, and return only the ones that has smartphones in their tags. So that's where it ends. So those one that doesn't have, those one that met that passed the test till quantity but has no smartphone in their tag will be removed, and leaving only the one that has that have smartphone as their tags in their tags. After that, it will now sort it. It will sort it according to best selling, and best selling is sales count in descending order, and then to return the first 10 out of all the products returned. So the next thing we want to do is to show I think that's the only thing I've not showed in the back end so far, is the product schema, the controller, and then the route. So I think we're good to go so far. So we can come here, go to our product schema. So we've talked about this interface first, the type. So we can come to the product schema. So this is a name, slug, description, image URL, and everything. So the list goes on. So we have the categorization. So we have the category, brand, section, subcategories, tab nav category. We have the tags. So it's an array. We have the sorting related field. So we have the sales count. We have view count, relevant score, sponsored rank. So vendor. So that's how it is. So if we check it, we say we have the vendor. So let's check our product. So if we check our product document, so we have this, and then you can see we have the vendor here. So the vendor name is there, the vendor ID is there. So if we come here, you can see we have the vendor ID for the product. Here we have the vendor ID. So that's the thing, every product belongs to a vendor. So that's the idea. So we're good to go. So we can come here after the schema, after the product schema, we go to the controller. So inside the controller, let's get the controller up. So inside the controller, we have the product controller. and then we have the index as usual. So this is the product controller. So the product controller, so here we have the create. We have the create product. Is similar to the way we created our category. It's just that product has more properties, it has more keys. So we have the name, we have the slug, we're using the image URL. So we use the spread operator to return the remaining properties. So here, so that's our thing, and here we're using map file URL. So if we go to our, so we'll go to our middleware. So inside our upload, so this is our map file URL that was passed to the product here. So inside our product, so we use it on our image, and then we come here. This is where we get our new product document, and then this is where we passed it and save. So we say product.save, and then we're good to go. After that, we can use this to update. Can update the product. So the product document will be updated using this function, and then we have the delete product. So we can come here. We go to our index. So inside our index, we see the same way we've been exporting everything. So we export what product controller. This is it. So we export product controller, and then we'll come to our root. Inside our root, so we have a product root. We have our product root. We can close this. So we have our product root, and inside our product root, so we are bringing our upload product that will help us to upload the product images. So, and then we have get product by category, upload product images, and then so that's if we want to update the product, we are using the put, and then we have the delete. So that's the thing, and then we're exporting the router as product root, and then we do the same thing inside our index, just like as usual. So I'm just going to close this. So here we also come to our product root for reference. So we'll come here and export everything inside our product root. So this is it. So this is our product root. We'll export everything inside the index, and after which we'll come to our express. So inside our express, we'll bring in our product. So this is the product. So app.use. So we have the product. We're calling it product, and then we have what the product root. And that's all you need to do. And that's all. So in summary, we can come here and let's finalize this by doing this. So we'll come here, and then so we have the home section type, we have the layout type, and then we have the data source, and then we want to check so that we know the one that uses what rule. So the first one on the list here is the deal category. So deal category is using the layout type of what horizontal, and the data source is what is category. So it's directly, we're fetching it directly from category, and we're not using rule for it. So the same thing goes for home category. It's just that the layout is grid there, and then the data source is from category collection, and then no rule is required. So same goes for featured category. So after that, we'll come to what flash sales. So flash sales is what its layout type is horizontal, and then data source is from product selection, product collection, and then we're using rule. So we'll use rule there. Then same goes for product brand store. So product can also be a layout type can be grid or horizontal, but the data source is from the product and from the product collection, and then we're using rule as well. So we have the brand store is horizontal, so data source can be either from the brand collection or from product collection. So rule is optional, it has to be defined if you want to use rule. So we have the banner slider is static. So the data source is static image. We're not using what rule is not applicable there too. We're not using it. So if we come here, so we can have this, and then just to make everything make more sense, so we have the home controller, the home section controller. So that's the entry point. So we're using the word express there, and at that point, so we fetch home or section. So if you're fetching home or sections, so we call what resolve section. So resolve section. So the resolve section, what it does is a service layer, and then it takes a section rule, it will take a section rule, builds a MongoDB query using what build query from rule, and then fetches product or what category. So build query from rule is a utility. It's a utility, and it converts the rule query. So it converts the rule, which consists of what query, sort, and limit, into an actual Mongo query. And then after that, we use the product schema. So we use the product schema, we use the category schema. So that's the front end consumption. And then the model layer is its model. So, and then this is what it holds data for the entities fetched. So display the enriched section data. So it will be section, each section plus what, plus their items for their respective items. So what we are going to quickly do now is we're going to show the front end code and see how everything we defined from our back end is rendered in the front end. So without wasting time, we'll go to the front end. So come to the front end here. So inside the front end here, so we have our home screen. So this is where we render all the home feeds. So we have the home screen. So inside the home screen, what we'll need, we're going to be using use effect, and then we're sending an API to the back end, which is here. So we're storing everything inside the use state. We'll store the response from the back end inside the what use state, and then we have the sections and then set section. So we're using use state, and we created this type. So this type is from our TypeScript. So let's go to our types. So we come to our types here. So types param. So this types params. So this is our type, our TypeScript, where we store our types. So inside here, we'll quickly go and let's see our home type. So we have home section types. So we configure this type in a way so that it will match what our backend response, so we won't have error. So if you've been following along, paying attention, you discover that we have some of these properties that we return from our backend. So you see we have the product. We have categories, so that were added inside this section object from the back end. So we can fetch the product for each section and fetch the categories, applicable categories for each category section. So, and then banners for the banner based section. So that's the thing. So ends, the front end must have these three, and then you can see we have our all. So we have our header background color. So we have our layout type, so that we can render everything. So we have the is active, we have the other. So we have the reference, we have the type, and it's still the same thing as what the section type. So you can see if I hover over it, so you can see it's still the same as what the section type we have at the back end. So we match everything together so that there won't be error, so that everything can work seamlessly. And then we have the title, and then here we see we have the layout type. So our home section is what we are going to use for our use state. So that's the idea. So we have defined the type for the JSON data that we are going to return from the back end. So that's why we have it here. And then the default state, the initial state is empty, is an array, and it's empty. So we pass the array here too. So we're using the use effect from React. So use effect from React, and then to fetch what this data, this information from our back end. So we called it fetch sections, and then we say constant response. So we're using Axios. We installed Axios earlier on. So we're using Axios.get, and we're using our API based URL. So our API based URL is inside our config folder. So if we go to our config, so we have the index here. So if we go there, you can see, so we've defined that constant here, so we can use it everywhere. So don't forget, if you are using a MacBook, you can use, instead of this API, you can change it and use what localhost, and then retain the remaining ones. And also note that this port is very important. It determines how your images will render, because we are saving the image part in our backend. So if you come to our backend here again, you discover that inside the image URL we have port 8082. So it's very important. We have the IP address, everything is part of it, so we can render the image. So that's it for this. So we can come here. So after that, we are sending it, and we're telling it to locate what home section, and inside the home section it will get what we are using, the get home section. So if we remember, inside our postman, so if we go to our postman, inside our home section we have, so inside our home section you can see we are using that keyword home section in our root. So that's what points towards the home section. That's what, so when you pass the get request, so it is this that helps the backend to know which controller you are speaking to. So it helps you to know the root. So it will go and look for the root that has what home section. So if we go back to our back end here, so we have if we go to our controller, so it's inside our root. So if we go to our root, our root, inside our root, we should have our home section root. So we'll bring it here. Inside the home section root, we have, so you can see for the get, we have what the get home section exactly, and then we have inside our express. So inside our express file, so inside our express, if we come down here, you see for the home category. So this is it. So you can see we have this section. So it's very important. So that's what we're telling it where to go. So to go to home section, and then and then from there to go to what get home section. So it will run this. So that's we are pointing to where it should go. So it is going to use our get home section. So our get home section is inside our controller that we explained earlier. So it's going to use get home section. This is what it's going to use. So we can go back to our front end. So inside our front end, we're telling it to go to the back end using the base URL. It goes to the back end, and then it's going to look for the home section keyword, and then run get home section the controller. So the response here, so it's going to be response.data, because that's what we return from the back end. If you still remember, we returned data. So the response at the front end will be the response.data. So you can see constant what data, and then we ask it to return response what.json is equal to data. So in the front end, so we can uncall that. So we get the response here. Once we fetch everything, and then we have the response.data. So we are saving it inside our section using the set section. We save it here. So after that, we'll call this function, because this function, the way it is now, won't work. So we need to call it. So we're calling it now, so it will work. We're starting the function, so it will run, and then we're using our use effect. So we are passing an empty, the dependency is empty, and empty dependency to it here, an empty array. That's what we're passing here, and so that's good. So that's all about it. So this is how we fetch the home section from the backend using our use state, and then we save it as our section. So once we save it into our section, now we can now make use of this section to display all the home feeds. We can use it to display all the home sections that was fetched from the backend. So if we come down here, we're going to be using flat list to do that. So inside the flat list, we are going to create the render section. So we create a constant render section, so we can consume everything at once. And inside the render section, we are giving a type of what home section type. So it's the same thing as this home section type that I showed earlier. So if you come here, so we are saying if home section type is equal to deal category. So if it's equal to deal category, that means the items there are category based item. So they are category based items. So in that case, we are going to use the category grid. So we created a component called category grid. So this is beautiful. Let me just show you everything around before we go into the category grid. So this category grid is enough, so we can reuse it. So that's the idea. So because we are going to have at least 2 categories in our home field. We are using the deal category and then the home category. So we can just reuse the category grid component for all that. So inside the category grid, we have the key. We're passing the key equal to section.id. So we have the data. The data will be equal to section.categories, and then we are casting it to category item. You're going to see everything, and then we declared here layout type equal to horizontal, and then the num column. So if it's horizontal, it will ignore it. So we're saying 1. So that's the idea, and then we can pass the onPress. So I comment it out for now. So we pass the onPress there. So the next one is if it's banner slider, we're going to use the banner slider component and pass the data into it. Then we are checking also if it is home category or section category, because for this category, what we are displaying here is grid and not horizontal. So we are still using the category grid component, and then we are doing the same thing section.categories. So we are pulling the product. We are pulling the item for each. So we are going to section.categories. Remember, we are using this section type, and then the categories is there. So we are pulling this, and then we're casting it to category item, and then we have the layout type. So the layout type here is grid, and then the num column is 4. Hence the reason why we have 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what it's speaking to. It's speaking to the home category here. So you can see here, so we specified the number of columns to be 4, so that's why we have this. So that's what's happening there. So after that, we have we have the flash sales section. So if section.type equal to flash sale, so we're using the flash sales component. So we call it flash sales section, and then we're passing the data. So section.product, and then we're casting it to our product item. All these things will be shown shortly. And then the next one is the other product based sections. So we just say if section.type equal to product, or it's equal to sponsored, or section.type is equal to brand store. So we're going to run we're going to run section component. So it will run everything and then attach their appropriate data, the appropriate product. So we have the header background color. You see, that's where the magic is happening. So we have the header background color here. So that's where it's happening. So we are using the section dot header background color. So it will take it will render the background color defined in the back end. So see all, it will render the see all appropriately. For those one that see all is true, it will use true, and for those one that is false, it will use false. So you just need to just once and it's enough. You don't have to repeat. Because you can see we are using like 3 product based here now. So you don't really need to repeat. It will render everything accordingly once. And that's the idea. So we have the title, so we have the key, we are passing the key, we have the title, it will get the title from the back end and render them accordingly simultaneously. And then we have the data, so the data will be the product. So we attach products to this, so it will get section dot product, and then we're casting it to our product item, and it's an array. Then layout, it will get the layout type from the back end, or if there's no layout type provided, it will use horizontal. So number of columns, so it will get the section dot layout type. If the section dot layout type is equal to 3, is equal to grid, it will use 2, else it will use 1. So the else, it is horizontal, so it will use 1. So if it is grid, it will use 2, else it will use 1. So that's the idea, and so that's what's going on. So we have, this is now where we now use our flat list. So we use our flat list and we pass the render section. So the render section here, so everything is render section here. So this render section will bring it to our flat list. So what we are doing here is, so through our flat list is it helps us to perform the map function to display all these sections accordingly and according to their order. So that's the thing. So that's why we're using flat list. So we don't need to perform another map function here. The flat list will do that. So that's why we sent the section. So we send the data inside here. We send the section that we store in our use state here. So that's what we pass to our data. So it will perform the map, and then render the section accordingly and according to the order, because the bucket defines that it should render it by order, in ascending order. So we have the key extractor, and then we have the render item. So it will render, we are passing the render section we defined just now. So show vertical scroll indicator will be false, and list header component. So we just use it for the header component, and that's it. We're good to go. It's that simple and straightforward. And then we have the header component. So without wasting time, I'm going to show you around. Let's show you the components that we've declared here. So the first one is, we are going to get the category grid. So the category grid will be inside our component. Let's go into our component folder. So we have our component, and then we have a home component. So we have the category grid here. So this is our category grid, and then the category grid has the category grid props, and then the category item. So we are using Expo image. So Expo image is faster. That's why I used Expo image. It's faster, and it helps to display and render images faster than the React Native image component. So that's why I used Expo image. So this is the way I did it. So image as Expo image. So we come to our category grid, and we are passing the type to it as category grid props. So it's inside our types param. So if we come to our category grid props, so this is our category grid props. So you see, in the data we are passing category item. So it's an array of category items. So this is our category item. So we have the ID, name, slug, image URL, thumbnail URL, cat, type. So you see, the category item also was displayed in a way to match our back end. So it's very important. So to match, so you can see I already put it there based on our back end cat type. So it will match. It's very important that it match our back end. So this is what we are doing here. So this is the category item, and then so we are passing the category item to this data, the category grid here, so we can render them for each category section and each category, and the various categories we have for each category section. So we have data, this category item is an array. Then we have the layout type is either, so the layout type is either horizontal or grid. So scrolled enabled is boolean, so true or false. And then on press, so on press, and then we have number of columns, and then item spacing. So that's it. So if we come to our category grid here, we're passing the category grid props into it, and then we're destructuring it here. We have the data, so the layout type. So for the category grid, we provided a default layout type, which is horizontal. So if a layout type is not provided from the backend, it will use the default. So if we provide a layout type from the backend, let's say we provide a grid from the backend, it will change the default to the one we defined from the backend. So scrolled enabled true. So on category press, and then we have number of columns, so we provided a default 2, so the default will be 4. But if there's if the backend provide or defines a number of column, it will override this 4 and use the one from the backend. So that's the idea. So here I declare a constant is grid. So layout type equal to, so if it's constant is grid means equal to layout type equal to what? Grid. So if layout type is equal to grid, then we are saying is grid. We want to use it for styling. That's why we wrote it there. So the item width, we defined constant item width. So we said if is grid is true, then the item width will be this. So this is how we calculate the item width if it is grid, if the layout is grid. So if it's grid, that means the layout is grid. If is grid is true, you are going to use this item width, else it will use what? 80. 80 will be what? Item width. So here we are doing the handle on press. So we have category item, we're passing our category item into it, and then we are using the nav.navigate, so category root. So we created a context from here. So nav. So this context enables us to navigate anywhere inside our app. So if we quickly show you that, let me quickly show you that it's inside our context. So if we move this inside our context, so this is what enables us to navigate at any point in our app from any component. So that's why we wrote it here. So I think if you've been following me, you already know this already. It's something I use often in my tutorials for navigation between all our components and screens. So this is it. We are importing some stuff from our React navigation, and the native stack, bottom tabs, root, and then we're importing our root navigator and tab navigator. So this is just what is going on. We're using the composite navigation props and including with native stack navigation props, and then we're passing the root params. We're combining those screens and all the screens, both the tab screens and then the root screens. So that's hence the reason why we're using the root stack params and the tab stack params. So that's the idea there. And then we created an interface, a context. So navigation context type. So this is navigation. So we are getting our navigation. We're saying navigation equal to what? App navigation that we declared here. So from there we now create what? The context. So to create the context, we are saying nav context. So we're using create context from React. So create context from React, and then we are passing our navigation context type to it, or it's null. So we are using the default. The default will be null. Then inside our provider, we come and say const nav provider. Then we are getting the children. We're passing everything. So navigation is going to use navigation, and then we are passing what? Our app navigation into it. And then after that, we come here nav context.provider. We pass the value. Navigation is the value. Then we're passing the children. And here, so this is where we now consume it. So we're saying that const use nav, we declared a constant, so, and we're exporting it so we can import it. Hence the reason why we imported it inside our category grid. So we're saying use nav, and then we're saying const ctx use context from React, and we're passing our nav context into it. So if this is not true, if it's not initialized, so if it's not true, we throw an error and say use nav must be used inside nav provider. So and it will return. So it won't work, it will return. So what it means is, if I come here, let me show you. So it must be used in our root, inside our nav provider. So we'll come to our app.tsx here. So you can see we have our nav provider, and you can see it's from our context. So we have to wrap our entire build. So we need to wrap our root navigator inside what? Our nav provider. So that's the idea, so that we can navigate within all the screens and components. So hence the reason why we can navigate from the category grid. Yes, that's what enables and allows us to navigate from it. So you must bring it here, the nav provider. So this is this is our nav provider here. So I think we're good to go. So we can remove this. So that's why we're now calling it. We call it here, and then we can navigate to anywhere, any point inside our app. So we come here and we declare what the render category item. So we declare just the same way we did for our home screen. So and then we'll pass the category item into it. I've showed you already. So the category item, so we have the category item here. This is the category item that I showed earlier. So that's what we're passing into it. And then so we have a style. So we have touchable opacity from React Native. Has style. So if it is grid, so we want to add margin horizontal. So we say if it is grid, you will use 0. Margin horizontal will be 0. Else if it is grid, the margin horizontal will be 0. Else it will be 4. That's if it's horizontal, it will be 4. So margin bottom, if it is grid, it will be 10. Else it will be 5. That means it is horizontal. So align items will be what? Center. And then we are our on press, we are using handle press. So the handle press we have here, so that's what we are using there. So this category root is inside our what? Our root stack. So if we come to our navigation, so inside our root navigation, so we declare everything there. So we can see we have for the product details, so we have the root category, we have the category root, and these are the parameters there. These are the parameters. So that's hence we are using it as a root. So and then we want to navigate to the category screen. So to navigate to the category screen, we must use what? The root, because the root is what we use as the category screen. So if we scroll down here, you will see when we declare the screen, so we have the category screen. So the name of the root is what? Category root. So that's why we're calling it here. So once we call it here, so by the time you do the on press, it will take you to the category screen. So that's just the idea. And then we are passing the item of the selected category. We are passing the item to the category screen so we can use it there. So that's the idea. And then so we're using the on press here, and we're passing the item. And then so after that, we have the category image container. So this is how we define the category image container. So this is everything there, so you can just go through it. And then see, we are calling the expo image. So we're calling the expo image component. So and then we get the source. So the source will be item.thumbnail URL, and we're using the first on the list. So that's the thing. So we see we are calling image URL, and this item is coming from what? This item here. And remember, the item must be is of type of category item, so which enable us to use all the parameters, all the properties inside what? The category item. So that's the reason why we call what? Thumbnail URL. So thumbnail URL, so that's what we're using. And then we provided style, so we added some style to it, and then catch policy transition. So this will help us to persist what? The catch. So that's what we're just doing. So that's for the image. So after that, we have what? The category title. So we're using text from React Native, and this is the styles there. So we provided the style. So we'll not be wasting time. So we are using number of lines 2, and then we're using item.what.name. So item.name. So that's the thing. So we have item.name here. So we can come to here, and then we have the item.name. So after that we close what? Our render category item. So we can use this our flat list. So close it here. So we are done. So we come to our return, and then we have what? The view, and the view is has some styles there. So these are the styles. So after that, it's like the container for the flat list. So after that, we have our flat list. So the flat list, now we are passing what? The data. Remember the data, we have the data here as one of the props from our category grid props. So this is it. So that's what we're passing into it, the data. So we're passing data into that, and then we will now pass what inside the render item. We'll pass what? The render category item here. So that's what we'll pass in it, and then we add what? The horizontal. So horizontal, that's if it's not grid, it is what it we make it what it will use what? Horizontal. So that's what we're saying here. So if it is not grid, because we are this category grid will be used, this category grid component will be used for all our category sections. So that's the idea. So we have to make sure it is robust enough to accommodate the dynamic rendering. So if the horizontal will only work, what we mean here is horizontal will only work if it is not grid. So if it is grid, this horizontal will be disabled. So that's what it means. And then we have the num. So we have the num column. So if it is grid, num column, else it's what? Undefined. So if it is grid, it will use the num column passed from the backend, or use the default if it is grid. So if it is grid, default there is, I think we had a default. Yes, we had default of 4. Or it will use, if it was passed from backend, if the backend defined it, it will override the default. So that's what we are saying. So if it is grid, it will use, if grid is true, if it's grid, it will use that num column, else num columns will be undefined, so it will override it, it will use it. So we have shows horizontal scroll indicator false, vertical false. So scroll enabled. So scroll enabled. So we want to check if the layout type is equal to horizontal. So scroll enabled will be true, else it will be what? False. So that's what it means. So if layout type equal to what? Horizontal, then enable scroll, allow it to scroll, else make it false. And you can see this thing is working. So it's working well. That's why you find that inside our category here, our category grid, this is grid, so the scroll enable is not working. But if you come to our deal category, you can deal sections, you can see scroll is enabled. So that's just how we're able to achieve all these things dynamically. So we have a column wrapper style, so we have the content container style. So these are just for styling. So these are just for styling. So that's the idea. So we're good to go. And then this is all we needed to do inside our category grid. It's simple and straightforward, but it is very robust. So can be reused, and it's dynamic. So it responds to what the backend sends. So that's the idea. So we can come to the next one here. We'll come back to our home screen. So this is it. So the data, we are now making data equal to section.what categories, and then we cast the category item. So that's the idea. So we can move on. The next one we have is the banner slider. So let's work on the banner slider too. So inside our if we come inside our home component, so is component, and then we have home component. So inside home component we have banner slider component. So inside the banner slider component, I'm just quickly going to bring them up and show you what's going on there. So we have the slider pagination. So we start with the image slider. So this is the image slider, and then so image slider is using the slider item params. It's from our TypeScript slider item params. So this is it. So it's taking slider item, which is equal to slider params, is using an index and scroll x. So we're using shared value. So if we come here, so this is the slider param. So we have the ID, the title, the image URL, description, and it's active. So that's what we are using there. So if we come to this, so inside here, we can close this now. So inside our image slider, so we are destructuring what the slider item, index, and scroll x as provided inside our inside our slider item param. So these are the three properties. So that's what we're destructuring here as well. So we're using animated style. So we're using use animated style from reanimated. So all this reanimated helps us to do this. So that's React Native reanimated. So we're using transform. I've explained all this in my previous tutorial, so we'll not be going through all that again. So we'll not be going through all this again. So if you've been following me, you already know how this is done, and if you've not, please refer to my previous tutorial. So especially the Zomato app clone, you can refer to it. Is there in my laundry app too. In my fashion e-commerce, it's there. You can check it. I use that, so I won't be going through it. I'm just going to show you the code so you can run it as well. So we're using animated style here, and this is what's going on. So inside here we are using animated.view, and then we're passing the animated style to this, and after that we are using the expo image. So this is the expo image, and we're passing that's how we pass the image to it. So we're passing it to expo image. So and we're using source URI slider items or image URL, because slider item consists of slider params. So and that's all we need to do here. So if we see slider items in our types, so slider item, so it consists of the image URL. So you can see, so it consists of slider item is of type of slider params, which consists of the image URL. So that's what we are using here. So that's what we are calling. So that's it about that. So after that we have the slider pagination component. So this is the slider pagination component. So this is what helps us with the pagination you are seeing now. That has, if it's active, it will show a Jumia like orange color, or if it's not active, it will show a gray color. Yeah, so that's the thing. So we have the pagination. So we are getting it from our pagination params, from our types. So all these types has also been added in the starter template, so you can get there. So we have pagination. So we have paginated item. It's equal to our slider params, and then we have page index. It's number, and scroll x we are using shared value, and it's also number. So you can refer to the starter template. It's already there as well. So won't waste time. So this is how we do our pagination. So animated.view, and then we are able to achieve the pagination you are seeing right now on the screen. So that's it about our pagination. So after that, we now bring everything into our banner slider. So if you see inside our banner slider, we're importing the image slider component and the slider pagination component, and that's where everything is happening. Like I said, you've been following through, you already understand how I do this, so I won't be repeating it in this tutorial. So refer to my previous tutorial to get the full explanation there. So So there's the banner slider. We're using use state, and then use state for the slider data, and then the pagination index. So we're using, most of this code is used from what our React Native reanimated. So this is what's going on. So if I bring this down, so you can see it's from React Native reanimated. So cool, you can see most of these things, most of the things we are using here is from what's React Native reanimated. So this is it. So we're using the image slider. We're passing the image slider component that we mentioned earlier, created earlier, and then after it, so after that, we're using animated.flatlist to render the banner slider, which is done, which we did here. So like I said, I have explained this thing extensively in my previous tutorials. I'm not going to do that again today inside this tutorial. So refer to those tutorials for breakdown explanation, detailed explanation of what happened here. So after that, we render our slider pagination, and everything is working out fine. So we can continue from here. So the next thing we want to check now is what is the flash sales section. So the flash sales section, I'm just going to show you the component as well, because I have also explained this in my fashion e-commerce web app. So you can check that out so that we don't waste time repeating unnecessary explanation. So you can check that out for the detailed explanation. So we have we'll close the banner slider component and bring what the flash sales section. So I've explained this in detail as well in my previous tutorial, fashion e-commerce app. So I'm just going to show you. So here we're using the product card. We're using the product card because you know that flash sales is also a product based section. So we have to bring in the product item and the product card. So this is how we launch the campaign and everything that we're doing inside it. So, and then we're using the use effect here. So this use effect is what we use for the timer. So if I show you the flash sales section, so that's what we're using for the timer and the countdown. So this is where we actually declared the functions for the countdown timer. So the timer, so we're using use effect there, and then so this is beautiful actually. So we have the render flash sales item. This is where everything is happening. So we have the flash sales, we have the time left, and then we have, so this is where we are displaying the time. The hour H stands for hour. So we displayed what? So this is where we display for the minutes too, and then everything just goes on like that. And then we have the see all, and then we're using the flat list to render and display everything dynamically, and this is beautiful. So we have the styles too. So the styles here, cool. So we're good to go. So that's about it for the flash sales section. So quickly we're going to go through to the product based section. So the product based section, we're using the product section. So we'll come to the product section here. So where's the product section in our, so we'll go to our component. So we have a product section, and inside the product section we're going to be using the product card. So we'll come here, product card is inside our card here. So this is our product card, and inside this, so for the product section, product based section, so all this section, top sales, limited, sponsored, all are product based section. So they are product based sections. So we come here, so this is the product section. So product section, we get the types. So the types will just be like the same with the backend, so that they can match. So you see, this is a product item, so you can see it's almost the same with it. So we have almost everything in here as well, so it can match what the backend responds. So this is a product item. So we can remove this thumbnail. Okay, let me just make it undefined, since got that. So we have the thumbnail, so we have everything, got that. So we have everything here: description, image URLs, log, name, everything is here. So we can come to our product section. So we're importing the product item from our types param, from our types, and then so we have the product section props. So this is the product section props. So we have the title string, so the data will be what product item. So we have the layout, that grid or horizontal. We have num columns. Num columns is equal to number. We have the header background color will be string, and CL is boolean. So all this is just to meet up and match with what our backend properties, our backend data. So that's what all this is all about. So we come to our product section, and we're passing what the product section props into it, which will be destructured. So just like we've been doing. So num columns, if layout is equal to grid, it will be 2, or we use word 1. So we have the header background color, we have the CL. So everything is here. So we come here, and then we are checking. So we want to check. So this is where we render what the title of each product based section. That's the header. So like the top seller section. So this is where we render that. So we say if title is true, if title is defined, is not undefined. So what we're going to do is we are going to apply this. We are going to run this block of code. So, and inside it we have what the title. So the ends we have what title top seller section, and then we are saying if CL is also true. If CL is true, then this is what we render. So that's how we're able to render what the CL. So for the top seller section, CL is false, or is false. So we didn't declare CL for that. That's why nothing is showing here. So that's what we're doing. And then we also check if title is undefined. If title is not true, it will be null for that place. So it will bypass it. It won't have any title for that. So that's the idea. So for limited stock deals, that's why we have CL, because CL is true there. So after that, we're using the flat list, and inside the flat list we are going to be all this we've done before. So we are passing the data here. So that's what we're passing into our flat list. And then we have the key, so num column. So we have the horizontal layout, just the same way we did before. And then num column layout, if layout is equal to horizontal, so it will be horizontal num columns. So if layout is equal to grid, it will use what num column, or it is what 1. So for our render item, so we'll come here and say, so inside our render item, so we are passing what, so for each of the data, so for each data here, so that's what it means for each data here. That's what it's like a map function we're mapping through. So we are passing the container. So we have the what, so we're using the view from React Native. So if layout is equal to grid, so this is what it's going to use. We are going to use this style. Else we will use this style. That means it is what, it is horizontal. So if it is horizontal, this style will be used. But if it's a grid layout, we'll use what, this style. So that's what this thing is just talking about. So after that, we are going to what, we are going to render our product card. So that's the idea. We render our product card, and then we have the styles. So this is the style we are using here. So the next thing is we are going to quickly show the product card. So this is the product card. So the product card we declare an interface product card props. It's taking item will be equal to what, product. So it will be equal to product from our, so the product is going to come from our category section type, so that it can match exactly with our backend. So if we come to our types, we have inside our types we have the category section types. So inside our types we have category section types. So we have our, so here this is what we're using. So we're using this product. So it's almost similar to the one we have. So this is like, it's more encompassing, matching what the backend type. So it's almost the same with, we just have some added properties here. So that was why I decided to use it. So we can also add those properties and add it to our our types here, our product item here. So I didn't want to waste time, so that was why I just used that one, and then not to skip any important property. So I just decided to use this because this is working directly with our backend. So you can choose whichever works for you. So that's why we are using the product there. So the product. So we're also using Expo image, and then we have the style. So the style is already in the starter template. You can check it out. So we have the product card, and we're passing the product card props into it. So we destructure it. So we have the item layout, num column. So this is the default. The default is 2. The layout, the default layout is horizontal. Show brand. So it's false. That's the default layout. And then the price color. So we're using we declare the default price color. So you can see the price there. That's why the price there. You can see the color it has. So after that, we come here. So to get the card width, so just like we have declared before. So layout, if layout is equal to grid, it will use, if layout is equal to grid, it will use this, or else it will use what, 160. That's horizontal. So we do the return here. So we are doing touchable opacity, and we are saying if item dot discount is equal to true. If it's true, so we display what the item dot discount, and then we're adding the badge. So that's the idea. That's what we have here. We have the item dot discount, and that's why you can see that most of the product has what, their discount there. Look at the sponsored product here, has discount attached to it. Look at the limited deals, each of them has what, their discount. So discount is true, and anyone that doesn't have any product that doesn't have this discount, it will bypass it, it will omit it. So nothing, it will become undefined. So after that, we are using what we display the product image using our Expo image component, and that's what we are doing here. And then we added style into it, inline style into that. And then after that, we display the product info, the product information. Like so we're saying if show brand and item dot brand is true, it will what, it will display the item dot brand, it will display the branding of the item. So if show brand is true, then after that we have the item name. So this is the item name, and we're using number of lines 1. After that, we have the price section. So the price section here, so we have the original price. So we're saying, so we have the current price and the original price. So item dot price will be the current price, and then we have the item dot original price, so it will be the previous price. So that's what we're doing here. It will be the previous price, and that's all about the category card. So we discard now, we save it, and then we are importing it to our inside our category section. So that's why we imported it here, and boom, we're good to go. So that's how we're able to come up with everything you're seeing here right now. So if we come here now, if we bring everything up, so you can see everything is working out fine. So this is how we're able to render all the home feeds with their section, with their dynamic section. So we have the banner slider, we have the deal category, we have the flash sales section, we have the home category section, we have the top sellers section, and then we have the limited stock deals. And you can see with all its dynamic rendering, this is very beautiful and cool. So you can go ahead and lay your hand on some other things there. You can try to add new sections, to the backend, or change the existing section so that you can see how everything will change in real time. So I leave that to you to be like your skill upgrade, so you to working around it. So because it's practice that makes perfect, so I'll just leave it to you to work around it, give me your feedback. So this is where we'll leave the home screen, so that in the next tutorial, the next series that I will be uploading, so what we'll do is, let's say you come to the category, the home category, and then you press any of it. So just look at what's going to happen. So if I press the phones and tablet category, now if I press it, just see, this is beautiful, and everything is coming from the backend exactly the way they have it from in Jumia. So you can see this dynamic, another beautiful dynamic rendering here. So you see we have the limited stock deals, it has see all. Look at this, is dynamic. We have shop by category, and it is pulling the subcategory for the phone and tablet category section. And look at the way this thing is rendered dynamically. You can see the limited stock deals, look at the way it's rendering. But when it comes to shop by category, it's centralized. And look at this beautiful subcategory. Isn't this beautiful? I'm going to be showing you in the next series. So this is what we'll be working on, and you can see we have top phone deals. This one doesn't have what, see all. We have best offer, it has see all, and look at this, is beautiful. And look at the products, they are dynamically rendered. Look at this, is beautiful. And then we have what, Philly official store. So this is dealing with only Philly product. You can see this is beautiful. You won't have, there's no phone there. It's only dealing with Philly stores alone. You can see this is beautiful. Then we have the new arrivals. Look at the way it is doing this, and see a beautiful feature that I added here. This sticky header, exactly the way they did it on Jumia. So if I scroll this up, look at it becomes sticky. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. So that's what we're going to be doing the next one. And that's not all. So we have the first section, and then we have paginated product list. Look at, after this, see the paginated product list and just see what's going to happen. You will see the refresh. When it gets to the last one, it will refresh and add more products from the backend, and I will show you everything is coming from the backend. So if I go like this, you can see the arrow rolling, and it's fetching more product. This is what we call paginated product list. So if I scroll it again, you see, say beautiful, and it has ended. This is all the product we have from the backend for this category. This is beautiful. So watch out for this in my next tutorial. That will be the next series. Thank you. Please do remember to subscribe, like, and share, and then so you can get notified when I post the next video.